Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR507. It's Wrestle Kingdom 18. I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show is, of course, the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going?
Hello, happy Friday, everyone. Going all well. Very excited to be here for Wrestle Kingdom 17? Or is it 18?
18.
It's 18. Okay, ready for Wrestle Kingdom 18. It's not because I haven't just watched Wrestle Kingdom 17 and 18 back to back because if I'm a weirdo. No, it's nothing like that at all.
No, it's not like you didn't pay attention to me talking during the intro and saying it was number 18. But let's not start, all right?
Oh,
We don't want to start the year. Nice. We're having a good one today. It's a fresh start. Up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan deity, it is Monty. How's it going, man?
It's going great. I'm always excited to be here normally, but you know, these pods and just anytime we talk about New Japan in depth is just special to me. So yeah, man, I'm excited and always happy to be here. But man, this puts an extra pep in my steps every time we do them. So I'm just happy to be doing this again.
Yeah, well, people that don't like this, they can blame you because it's your fault.
Well, screw them.
New Japan, all right?
Screw them. Cut it off. Go to the next pod. We'll talk about, one of the other mini promotions on the next episode. So
yeah, we got the Rumble next show. So if you want to just skip, if you're listening now, But honestly, listen, it's going to be a great show. But by no means least, I can't think. Bad TV and other people's lives on Instagram and Facebook feeds got me fatigued. Another night holed up inside, so we hit the streets and walked around routes we were running the ground 1,000 times before. Penned by city walls and arrow trains of thought, inspiration left us cold. The 9 to 5 took what's yours. Late nights and the early starts left you finished short like a mountain stack of bills. Of course it's Gina. How's it going?
Hey, what it do, gang? I'm super excited for this New Japan pod. I'm actually up to date with it, so I'm happy.
You're up to date, so that's good. That's good. But I know I just did a song there, and you might not know what it is. So I'm going to ask Monty quickly. Do you know what that song was? It wasn't sung well.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe if you did a better job, I would have had a clue. No, I had no idea.
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah, go on.
Was it actually from 500 Days of Summer, the movie?
No, it wasn't.
Right. Oh, well, I failed. Fuck.
No, you should try. What can we say? No, it was Young Punks from Personality Cult.
Personality Cult, yeah.
Of Zack Sabre Jr. and the mighty Don't Kneel. Gina, you could have had Zack Sabre Jr. Before we start, I've got to tell you, you could have.
Sabre Jr. from when you know that me and him got beef.
You could have had his beef. You could have had beef.
No, I want his beef.
Why is it like trying to put my sister out constantly to Zack Sabre Jr.? I don't know
what's the deal with it.
He's the greatest technical wrestler going. And
Doesn't
Monty
matter.
Jackson, it's not about you two. All right, I'm talking to Gina. We're having a one-on-one here.
If I'm going to pimp my sister out to anyone, there's going to be someone that's going to get me in touch with Daddy Okada. So why are you trying to get my sister on someone like?
Can we stop with the pimping?
I'm not interested in
exactly.
that.
That's what I'm saying. Jackson doesn't help herself.
No.
No. I don't mind her being pumped out, but just to the right person. Right? You've got
a person that I can, get Daddy Okada, No, let's not pimp my sister. Okay, it's not pimp my sister. Let's not do that.
You know what? If we ever stop doing the WNR podcast, we will call it Pimp My Sister. And then we can do shows. It'll be fun. We have a lot to catch up on today. But I promise this 6 months will fly by. I'll say it quickly so you don't realise how long it is. I missed the Independence Day before the G1. That was our last show when we talked about Japan, the G1 climax. Yeah. I thought Independence Day was a US show, but it wasn't. And there was 4 title changes over 2 nights. July 4th, Alex Coughlin and Gabriel Kidd defeated Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi to win the Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships. The semi-main event, Drilla Maloney and Clark Connors defeated TJP and Francisco Akira to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. July 5th, Julia beat Willow Nightingale for the Strong Women's title. It's great stuff. I can't believe Willow's actually not doing more in AEW, but this is why Julia is on Tripp's wish list. And Eddie Kingston defeated Kenta to win the Strong Openweight Championship. She is special, Monty, you are right. Let me take a breath. We got New Japan Destruction in Kobe, which was September 24th. The Bullet Club, Dan Maloney and Clark Connors defeated Tiger Mask and Kevin Knight. Just 5 guys, Sanada, Taka Michinoku, Doki, because it's Doki Pokey. I always get that wrong to begin with, Monty, but I'm going to get it right. God damn you. Defeated House of Torture, Evil, Dick Togo, and Yujiro Takahashi. El Fantasma Tangaloa and Tamatonga with Hikuleu and Jado defeated the Bullet Club, which was David Finney, Chase Owens, Gabe Kidd, Alex Coughlin, and Gado. Leo Rush and Yo defeated Los Ingobernables de Japan in Takahashi and Bushi. TMDK, Zack Sabre Jr., Bad Dude, T.O. defeated Kazuchika Okada and Tomohiro Ishii. Sabre and Ishii traded more quick offense when Sabre suddenly got an Icona roll, leaned back for leverage and scored the pin. They made a challenge for the 6-man tag team title belts afterwards. Ishii and Okada's partner, Tanahashi.
Did Tito pin Okada?
Sabre did.
Oh, Sabre did. Wow. Okay, I missed that match.
Ishii.
Oh, Ishii. Yeah. Okay.
And then we get Sho versus Taichi for the KOPW title. Sanada and Eva were handcuffed together, as were Togo and Taka, as were Doki and Yujiro. But Yoshinobu Kanemaru ran to the ring. However, instead of making the save, he sprayed alcohol into Taichi's face.
No.
Kanemaru hit a brain buster on Taichi, peeled off his shirt, revealing a House of Torture shirt, showing the shock arrow cross for the pin, and the new champion looked like Kanemaru never hurt his knee, and the fix was in long ago. And Eva got on the mic and said that House of Torture is now 5 members and just 5 guys, only has 4. House of Torture is gaining momentum there, and I don't like it. But Monty, this was a big deal.
Yeah, man. It's in hindsight, it shouldn't have been, but it really was a shock at the time because just 5 guys in their original incarnation seemed like they were on the same page. But you know, Yoshinobu kind of say that again.
Monty, who was the 5th? Because I thought it was just 4 guys.
No. It's just 4 after this match, but Kanemaru was the 5th guy. You got Taka Michinoku, then you got Doki, and then you have Taichi and Sanada.
Yeah. So I knew those was okay. So sorry about that. I just needed to be caught up. I didn't know there was a 5th to have gone back down to a 4th.
Yeah, the 5th turned on them and went back down to 4th. Then he became the 5th of House of Torture, which again, in hindsight, should have made sense. It started to make sense after I realized Best of Super Junior Tag League was coming up, and House of Torture at the time only had 1 junior in that show, so it made sense. And but 5 guys with Nobu on there was 3 juniors because you had Taka and Doki and then Yoshinobu. So he also is the heel master, so him turning on them in hindsight, again, it's not that much of a shock because that's just what he does. He's not a good person, never has been. And hitting him with the Satori surprise, it was very funny. His reasoning after the fact was just, come on, guys, did you really think I would be with you lame hoes that long? So he talked like it didn't matter anyway. So that's Kanemaru for you. Uncle Nobu is the heel master for a reason.
Good to know.
Without Monty, it is just me like doing names. So I'm glad. Like I said, we're all helping each other out.
Definitely, when it comes to sort of the build-up of things, we have not had, my sister and I have definitely not had enough time. So it's really nice to sometimes be able to ask these questions, and we have someone like our sensei, Monty, who really does know how to just quickly update us and actually tell us, oh, this is what happened beforehand. And then things make sense. This is why you got us, guys.
Yeah. So Jaxie's saying that my scripts don't make any sense. Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi defeated the Mighty Don't Kneel, Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols to retain the tag titles. I wanted new champions, but again, for me, Shane and Mikey gone up in many people's estimation after the G1.
Yeah.
They
Give
have
it time.
been really, really good. We see Shingo Takagi defeating Greater Khan, Naito versus Jeff Cobb. Now, Monty, I love New Japan, but carrying a contract around in the little flimsy bag.
In a tote. Yes.
I mean,
yes.
it's cute, don't get me wrong, but
you got to
they do get
understand Naito's
briefcases.
history. Yeah, he didn't want one. He didn't want one. He was gonna destroy it because it's the same thing he did with the Intercontinental Championship when he first won it. He's different, man. Naito is different, and he said it's a contract. He doesn't understand why we would waste a nice briefcase on it, so he just put it in a tote bag and carried it around, reminding everyone he had the date, had the Wrestle Kingdom date written on the bag and everything. So yeah. I think they started to sell those little totes too. He's a merch master, by the way.
It's like an Orange Cassidy thing where he keeps the belt in the backpack. Is it similar to that?
It's even less than it depends on how you feel about the backpack. If you hate the backpack, you might love the totes because it's just a little bag that's open and you can tell it's just a paper in the bag. So yeah, it's literally like, I don't know how to explain. Like you're picking apples and you put it in a nice little tote bag or something. Like a purse. It's closer to a purse than a backpack.
You know, he wanted to be a little bit different. Didn't want the briefcase, so thought a tote would be the next best thing.
Well, Cobb set up to tour the islands, but Naito turned it into Destino. I'll get it right in a minute. Naito nailed a second Destino flipping faceplant, fully clean pin. Great stuff. And then Will Ospreay defeated Yota Tsuji to retain the UK title. We did get reminded Yota scored a pinfall over Ospreay at the end of the G1 Climax tournament in a multi-man match. But Ospreay nailed the Storm Driver powerbomb. Yota stumbled to his feet, but was still smiling. He's always smiling. Ospreay hit a hidden blade to the jaw, then a Stormbreaker for the pin. Tsuji has the second best spear in the business. But Monty, don't ruin my jokes. But the best teeth in the wrestling business. Will did make him look like a star, but credit to him as well. And like we talked off air, Tsuji needs a lot of experience, and this is definitely going to help him along the way.
Yeah, man, this is awesome. Like, again, knowing what I know now about Ospreay's future, I just really love what he did here the last few months of his run in New Japan. And I think this match, and a match we'll talk about a little later with Shota, like, man, he really made those guys feel like they were on another level. And that's that's his catchphrase. He's on another level. Well, he picked Tsuji up from whatever level you thought he was at, and I think he at least brought him up 3, 4, 5 levels because Tsuji looked like an absolute killer in there, and he was just like you said, he survived a lot of damage. He looked great towards the end there, even before he took the finish. So again, I just really love because I know how much the people already support Tsuji. I love Tsuji getting a match like that under his belt because that was by far his greatest performance, and he's had a lot of good ones so far in his short run. So Yota Tsuji is a star, man. I just think if New Japan knows what they're doing, they strap the rocket on the Tsuji sooner than later.
Yeah, and we should say as well, because I haven't actually put it here, but of course with Will Ospreay, as we mentioned, decided to leave New Japan and sign for AEW. Hasn't happened in this kind of timeline yet, but as you said, this kind of run of matches just shows how great he's been in 2023. Plus the kind of, like you said, working with the guys. And another match made straight afterwards, after he said that Tsuji was amazing, is against Zack Sabre Jr. They agreed to fight at Royal Quest 3.
One last time.
Fuck me, man. Anyway, it's a match we've been waiting for, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. We've got Destruction, Night 2, October 10th. Of course, we've got the Frontier Zone, which is young guys or indie wrestlers given a chance, which I really like the idea. It's quite cool, you know. I can imagine WWE doing something like that and then just having a WWE guy win.
Right.
Not to confuse anybody anymore. Sorry, go on.
No, they would do that. They would be like, yeah, we're showcasing this awesome showcase of different wrestlers from different promotions. But guess what? Seth Rollins winning.
Yeah, exactly. You know what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen.
He's winning injured because we don't let him have a break, you know.
Well, I tell you, someone who did return to Japan, it was Uemura. You might not have heard of him, but he was excellent in Impact, especially towards the end, teaming with Joe Hendry. He came back from excursion and is a new member of Just Five Guys. Because it was 4 guys,
back
and
to
now
5.
it's 5 guys. There you go. We said Doki,
So we're back
Daichi.
to 5 now?
Yeah, we're back to 5.
Back to 5. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Sensei, let me know next time.
Doki, Daichi, Uemura beat Sho, Yoshinobu Kawamura, and Takahashi. Yura got the win for his team. Chase Owens and Tanga Loa. Well, Tanga got stuck going for a 619, but did manage to get the win. I won't waste my money on either of them. We get
Leave my guy alone, man.
Oh, you're a Chase Owens fan?
No, I'm talking about T. I'm definitely not talking about Chase.
Are you mad at Tangaloa? What's wrong?
Tangaloa, I just think coming back from
he's
the
cool,
injury,
but he's not. He's nowhere near where he could be.
I've seen better on NXT 2.0. Not gonna lie.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, that's really making a statement right there.
He's not. The thing is, Hikuleo has been able to be more active than him because of his knee injury. So Hikuleo has taken steps ahead of him. Tama was always a little bit better and way more natural than him. So he's just kind of trying to catch up with what his brothers have been doing because they've been able to wrestle.
I'm literally basing off the last, I would say, 2 years.
Yeah,
kind of full on watching, if you know what I mean. If that's
right, he's been hurt. Yeah, but
me.
he was all like Tonga when they were in a tag team. It was just him and Tama Tonga. They were an awesome team together. That's why they won so many tag titles.
The original GOD.
Yeah, the original GOD. Yeah.
Right.
But he got injured, and it was a bad knee injury too. So it's not like just something he tore the MCL and the ACL. So he just hasn't really been the same.
Nice shit. So Lost in Goblin Japan. Naito, Shingo, Bushi, and Tsuji defeated United Empire. Great Khan, Jeff Cobb, Hinare, Callum Newman. United beat new member Newman with Destino. I want Callum to have a race versus Nathan Fraser. Who do you think wins, Monty?
I'll take Fraser, but
be like Flash versus Superman.
Yeah. I get it.
We get the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors and Drilla Malone defeated Intergalactic Jet Setters. Let me get that right. Kushida and Kevin Knight. Bullet Club attacked from behind. Kushida said of the Drilla Killer was awesome. It's just a shame it wasn't the finish. But there we go. Best of 7 series. Match 7. Shota Umino, Yuji Nagata and Master Wato defeated Strong Style and Minoru Suzuki, El Desperado, Ren Narita. I was most invested in shooting Narita. They really went at it late. I liked how the commentary pointed out they weren't looking to tag out. This was about pride for them. In the end, it was Shooter who pulled it out, beating Narita with the Death Rider. But Monty, can you explain to me who won the series? Because I didn't understand.
It was no one won. It was tied.
Right. Okay.
It was tied 3-3. No one won the series. With the 7, that's what Shota and them earned. He earned a draw, which, if you know Shota Umino and Ren Narita's history, when they were young lions, they had the most draws. A lot of times when you have these young lion classes, the 2 best usually tend to fight, and they go to like 10-minute, 20-minute draws. Like Sho and Yo, when they were both young lions, used to have a lot of used to just always battle to a draw, or it would be a really close victory for Sho or vice versa. In Ren Narita and Shota Umino's, they draw like 15 straight shows. I remember almost just kept fighting, and they always pushed each other to be better. So this kind of was a continuation of that. The only difference was you have Yuji Nagata and Suzuki, who have hated each other for 40 years, and then you have Master Wato and El Desperado, Master Wato was continuing to try to prove himself to El Desperado. So it was a great little clash, and you kind of saw at the end there after Shota Umino won, them all begrudgingly shake hands.
But I was about to say, it was Shooter and Narita shook hands.
Yeah, they were fine. Everyone else,
yeah. Desperado with his pinky, and Nagata and Suzuki kind of slapped each other a few times.
They slapped each other.
So it's like,
after the match, Suzuki's like, "I will always hate you. I will never lose to you." Yuji Nagata, I would lose 30,000 matches before I lose to you again. And all Nagata said after that was, "Man, this is weird."
Well, we get the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships. Grid of Destiny, Hikuleo and El Fantasmo defeat Bullet Club War Dogs, Alex Coughlin and Gabe Kigg to win the titles. Bullet Club attacked from behind, but this time only one man. The face got going late. Used a barrage capped by Thunderkiss 8-6 to give us new champions. Never Openweight 6-man Tag Team Championships. Chaos, Okada, Ishii and Tanahashi defeated Motor City Machine Guns. Of course, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin and Josh Alexander retained the titles. This was the real main event for me. The closing stretch saw Alexander inadvertently hit Shelley, which set the champion up to fall to the high fly flow. Impact May lost this time, but I think they're winning overall with this relationship. Again, it's different to the relationship that AEW has with New Japan, but I mean, Japan will love Josh Alexander. You know, this can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, he has an awesome style that fits what New Japan really, really likes, you know, with his explosiveness and just athleticism and being just a great technical wrestler also. So he fits right in. The Motor City Machine Guns are someone that they've watched off and on come to Japan for years. So they were going to be beloved over there. And like I kind of said, like you said before the show started, man, they were going against the greatest 6-man champions in the history of New Japan. And this match is a great example of why. I mean, did you hear that crowd and how into it they was by the end when Tanahashi finally got up to hit the aces high and then the high fly flow? So it was an awesome 6-man match. Like I said, Ishii, Okada, and Tanahashi. It makes sense that they're the greatest because that's like they're like a dream team. Like there's no weak points at all in that squad. But yeah, man, I'm with you. Impact, the relationship has worked really well, but Impact seemed to be working really well with a lot of people, other than when they were trying to work with AEW. I heard that one didn't go so well, but they borrow from a lot of different pools of talent. MLW, I've seen all types of people who I thought was exclusive somewhere else, and they show up in Impact or TNA. So, yeah, man, this was a very, very good stuff for Impact, but also it worked and ended up being a very entertaining clash, even when it's something that I don't think anyone thought was would happen. I didn't have that on my bingo card.
No,
but it was a great match.
It's stuff that I love about wrestling, especially New Japan kind of being open to working with other companies as well. You know, that's kind of how you do it. And we've seen it there. You know, the world champion of Impact got pinned, but people are more excited that we might get Tanahashi versus Shelley down the road, you know.
Right.
Anyway, Never Openweight Championship, Tama Tonga defeated David Finlay to win the title. Tama rallied late and won after hitting a Styles Clash and a Driller even. This was a rough night for Bullet Club. The Junior Heavyweight Championship 3-way match, Takahashi defeated Mike Bailey and Yo to retain the title. It was a shame Leo Rush had the
awesome match, man.
And missed the match. Yeah, but
yeah.
I wanted, you know, don't get me wrong, but I think you stick Leo Rush in there as well. But this was really, really good. And again, Mike Bailey, impact and what he can do, fantastic. And then we had something less fantastic, which was the World Heavyweight Championship Lumberjack Death Match with Sanada defeating Evil to retain the title. I don't know if we need 30-minute main events with Evil, you know, but luckily Sanada didn't fuck about with Deadfall. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Monty? Because again, I could have done without this.
Well, you know, I'm gonna have a completely different perspective because of who I am. But I'm not opposed to anyone saying that they didn't want to watch not only just Evil, but just the House of Torture and their format and all the shenanigans. Because you're right, I think this match probably would have been a good 20-minute, 25, or even 15 to 25 minute match. probably is where it should have been. But the shenanigans, all the interference and the extra stuff attached to it is what kind of pushed it for as long as it went. Because every time you thought Sonata finally won the match, the ref would get pulled out. We had 3-4, I think at least 3 different referees, right? Because that's just how many bumps took place. So yeah, man, but it was a lumberjack match, so I kind of expect. I mean, they come out there when it's a regular match, so you know what's gonna happen when they're supposed to be out there. I didn't hate this one as much as you did, mostly because I'm familiar with the history, and it's just another example of how Sonata and Evil have just went completely opposite of ways from when they were tag team champions and one of the best heavyweight tag team and one of the best members of LIJ. Both guys were. Evil used to have some of the greatest matches, or at least some of the greatest strong style matches that you can think of for a period of time there. And then just who he's become since becoming the leader of House of Torture is the complete opposite of that. He does not care about the quality of the match, only wants to win the way he wins. And I think later on at the end of this, when we talk about Wrestle Kingdom, you'll see even more of a great personification of where all 3 of the main guys, the former main guys of LIJ, because they were like, along with Bushi, they were the first 3 to debut. Evil, Sonata, and Naito. Naito was already there, but they joined. So Sonata and Evil have a lot of history, but Sonata has always had that upper hand when things were even. That's why it was so shocking to me when he lost to him in the G1, because Sonata usually finds a way to beat Evil, and he did it once again here. So I didn't have a problem with it as much as you did, but I understand your sentiment, because it can definitely be exhausting when you know what's going to happen when it comes to House of Torture.
We move on to Raw Quest 3, October 14th. I cannot believe. I mean, Jaxie, can you believe that it's like nearly a year and a few months ago now? Only seems like yesterday, doesn't it?
It really did, especially when kind of re-going and re-watching through this. It just kind of took me straight back to this time last year and was like, how are we not here again? We should be there, But it was a lot of fun watching it this time around, having been there and experienced it firsthand the year before. It was really nice.
Yeah, well, we see Taja Shimori defeated Robbie X. Our boy Trent Seven came close but was beaten by El Desperado. Yota Tsuji defeated Luke Jacobs. Tsuji won with the Gene Blaster Spear. The IWGP Junior Tag Team match, Clark Collins and Drilla Maloney defeated Cameron Kai and Leon Slater. This was the 3rd defense for Collins and Maloney. The War Dogs attained after hitting the full clip. Guerrillas of Destiny, El Fantasma, Tanga Tonga and Tanga Loa defeated Bullet Club, War Dogs, Alex Coughlin, Dave Finley and Gabe Kidd. Loa scored with a win with apeshit on Finley. Tanga Loa will go on with Finley at Power Struggle in a match I didn't ask for. Ren Narita and Shota defeated Francisco Akira and Greater Khan. Umino pinned Akira with a Death Rider. Shooter looked good. Tatsu Naito and Bushi defeated Sanada and Doki. Naito pinned Doki with a Destino. Post-match, Bushi misses Sanada. Eddie Kingston, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Michael Aku defeated United Empire, Hinari, Jeff Cobb and TJP. The champion of the British scored the fall on TJP with a flash pin. And Tanahashi and Musto, Oku's girl, Amira. I don't know if anybody saw that as well, but that was quite funny. Tanahashi just walking away. He's like, no, I'll take this one, it's fine. We then see Shingo defeated Tomohiro Ishii after the match. Never Openweight champion Tama Tonga challenged Shingo to a title match at Fighting Spirit Unleashed. Monty, 40 in Japan is different to 40 in WWE, though, isn't it? And is that due to just in-ring kind of miles on the clock?
Yeah, man. Have you seen a New Japan? Have you seen a New Japan match? The style is completely different, man. And it's just, if you've been doing it a long time and you're around 40, you've probably been seriously injured multiple times, or at least, you probably like Naito was making serious surgery, wait until his retirement, but he said, screw it, I'm gonna have to go ahead and get it now. So, like a lot of that stuff is going on. I mean, you can tell by, I know Keiji Muto, he retired, but if you see, watch how the Great Muta walks now. Those knees are shot, brother. Look at Tanahashi when he walks. Those knees are shot. So yeah, man, 40 in WWE is completely different. They don't ask you to do half as much. Even if you're on the house show circuit still, you usually can take it a lot easier. The TV matches are going to be less physical, less length of time. You're gonna do more promos. Promos and stuff like that are secondary in New Japan. So yeah, man, if you're 40 years old in WWE, you can look like LA Knight, even though I know he's new, but you know what I mean. You can still be relative. AJ Styles is a great example
Bobby
of how
Lashley,
you continue.
AJ Styles,
Yeah, Lashley.
yeah,
You can go down the list of guys. I think again, Shinsuke, if he's still in New Japan, he may be already trying to retire, or at least looking way less than he has looked now because of what he did around now he's been in WWE 7 years, and he still looks like he could go even longer. Oscar, another person over her 40s. You can't tell, you know what I mean? But the WWE style has helped that.
Yeah, without a doubt. We then get Will Ospreay defeating Zack Sabre Jr. This was just fucking brilliant. I mean, what a match. Half hour flying by. Proper wrestling. And Gina asked you this because this is something we don't talk about a lot. But isn't it fantastic? And I'm not going to pimp you out to Zack Sabre Jr., don't worry. To have two British talents like this being two of the best wrestlers in the world. Ospreay, arguably number one. Zack Sabre Jr. definitely in top 10, my top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit, so Zach has definitely gone up in my books. I wasn't the biggest fan of him. I'd say last year when I saw him at Royal Quest 2, it's not that I wasn't a fan of his. I didn't warm to him. He's a good wrestler. I didn't put that past him, but I just didn't really warm to him. So I just had no feelings for him. But I will admit that sort of over time, my appreciation for his technical wrestling has grown. But again, that's because I haven't really seen him wrestle that much. I've only seen him do a few matches here or there when I can jump in. So it is nice to watch more New Japan and then see what everybody else is talking about, see what they're all gloating about for Zach. He is really one of the ones that are up there in terms of technical wrestling and one of the greatest wrestlers right now that's on TV. So I will confirm and agree with that. He's still not my favorite though.
After this, we've got a New Japan World, the app that I watched through the Fire Stick, got updated, and I got to say, it is really, really good. I'm surprised how good it is considering how shit the old one. Now, Monty, I don't know how you watch your New Japan, but I moaned to you about this in the past, and I will never moan again.
No, they did a great job. They did a great job upgrading everything, and the way the presentation's a lot better. And like you said, you can find things that you want a little bit easier. I could use the Fire Stick. I also been on my just on the website. It's the same thing. Same thing with the app that you could download to your phone and just watch matches on your devices. So right now, everything works really well. And like you said, kudos to them for realizing. And I think they got a lot of complaints for a long time, not just from foreign users, but even in general, the way that things were going. And the subscriber count, all that stuff grew. So I think what happened was they realized, okay, we're going to have to make this more accessible because it's not the small subscription service that it was way back in 2015 when they kicked it off. You got to think about it. It's only been around since 2015. They were still kind of brand new to it. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm happy they kind of upgraded everything. At first, I was not, because when you're just so kind of used to doing things a certain way, I was like, oh man, what the hell is going on? What's all this? But after once it got implemented and everything was cool, I was like, oh no, this is pretty awesome. So yeah, I still love it.
Well, I'm still pissed off at the network that it doesn't play the next episode of whatever you're watching. It just stops. But with New Japan, even stuff like the commentary track now, you can select English and Japanese on the same video rather than like two separate
Have
ones.
to go to a different screen, right?
Recently watched as well, and it's much more accessible with the series and stuff like that. It's definitely worth a look. On my birthday, October 28th, Fighting Spirit, Shingo won the Never Openweight title, beating Tamatonga. November 4th, Power Struggle. A lot went on. Select matches, Naito and Tsuji defeating world champ Sanada and Yuri Uemura. David Finlay defeating Tangaloa. John Moxley versus Great Khan. It ended in a double count out, and Moxley grabbed the microphone and challenged Khan to a false count anywhere match. Of course, your hero and mine agreed. Mox cut off ponytail of the Great Khan. I cannot believe this. This was unbelievable. Moxley landed a Death Rider and locked in a choke, leading to the end of the match. And Monty, I'm starting to feel sorry for Great Khan a little bit.
Yeah, man, it's been a tough year. Yeah, it was a tough year, man. I have to admit, it was really, really tough for someone who started off so dominant. 2023 was definitely a down year for Oka. But I think, like you mentioned earlier with Ospreay, and now I'm wondering what's next for the United Empire. Who can be the front man? I think in Japan he's already the most popular member, if not next to Jeff Cobb. So I think next year, I think Oka could be in line for some big things. Hopefully, going forward, he can be one of those main guys. But besides that, this match, like you said, absolutely insane. It was I like the way it was built impromptu, because it started off like it was gonna be a regular match. Then the fans kind of booed because it got DQ'd or whatever, counted out or whatever it was, and then Moxley just grabbed the mic and said, "Nope, I'm not leaving until we finish this fight." So they just do a falls count anywhere, and they go absolutely bonkers for the next 20 minutes trying to kill each other. It was awesome, man. Of course, Moxley bled, but I think you guys knew that already. This was really great, man. Like, it went under the radar because of how, again, we have so much good wrestling that great stuff like this just kind of go under the radar. But this was awesome.
Yeah, without a doubt. Never openweight 6-man tag team championships. Okada, Ishii, and Tanahashi defeated Zack Sabre Jr., Shane Haste, and Mikey Nichols, with Tanahashi pinning Zack Sabre Jr. After the match, the lights cut off and Bryan Danielson video package. Danielson challenged Okada to a one-on-one match. Okada answered with yes, setting up the rematch, the biggest show of the year. Jackson, we're going to get to it. We're going to talk about it. But Danielson and Okada is what's best for business.
I mean, it's the dream, isn't it? Really. I mean, I can't say that I wasn't excited by this. So, bring it on.
Right, we get Super Junior Tag League final. I would ask you to kind of fill in the blanks, Monty, but we won't because it's just take too long. We've got TJP, Francis Akira defeating Sho and Kanemaru, House of Torture. After the match, the junior champions hit the ring, laid out catch 2-2, cut a promo over the bodies before the War Dogs could inflict more punishment. United Empire hit the ring, sending the champs running. Just quickly, though, what were your thoughts on the junior tag league? Because you mentioned House of Torture earlier and kind of setting up for this tournament.
Yeah. I think that's the main reason why Yoshinobu joined the House of Torture, was so Sho could have a tag team partner, and they finished with 12 points, tied right there at the final. It came down to El Desperado and Master Wato, which was another kind of impromptu team, but they did awesome with 12 points. Came down to them in Catch 22, and on the last night, Sho and Nobu obviously screwed El Desperado and Master Wato, and that's how we got the final match of the House of Torture versus Catch 22. That was also another great match.
Got that. So House of Evil screwed over Catch 22 before this.
They screwed over Desperado and Master Wato. They tried to screw over Catch 22, but Catch 22 won the match still.
Okay, which led to Catch 22 being the ones in the finals.
Right. It led to them being able to fight the War Dogs, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
that makes sense.
We got two War Dog teams, so I'm.
Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah. They go by them too. No, it's fine. You right, Maloney and Clark. But yeah, we're good. But yeah, that set up that match. But the tournament was great. It was pretty good. Like I said, I always recommend World Tag League, which we'll talk about in a sec. But I don't have to go in detail about that either. But both tag leagues, whether it's Super Junior or World Tag League, if you're a fan of tag team wrestling, that's just what that is. It's kind of like mini G1s, just all about tag team wrestling, and it's some of the best wrestling. Just very, very consistent stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I loved it.
I watched it last year because of obviously ABC being in it, which was a little bit disappointed they weren't this year. And I don't think there was the kind of team for me that I thought, I want to watch 10 of their matches, if you know what I mean. So I just stuck with kind of like the semi and the finals. We get the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Hiromu Takahashi defeating Taiji Ishimori. After the match, Desperado came out to challenge Hiromu for his belt. We then get the IWGP UK Heavyweight title. Will Ospreay defeating Shooter Umino. This was
incredible.
Fantastic. I mean, I'll let you go into detail, Monty, but when you get to the 40-minute mark of a match, there's ways that you can go, like I did with Evil, or there's just you go 40 minutes. Wow, this was just something else, you know?
They just kept going, and the people, you could tell, wanted them to keep going. And Shota, everything Tsuji did to prove that he can hang with Ospreay, Shota put a little bit of his own like violent twist on all of that too. And I think you can see a lot of that Moxley in him, as Moxley did come out towards the end there to try to pump his not even a young lion anymore, but yeah, he tried to pump his guy up in Shota Umino. And let's just be honest. I remember vividly, I think it was in New Japan Strong. I just not sure exactly where it was, but Ospreay beat the dog. He just beat the mess out of Shota right in front of his father. I think it was last year. And they played into that a lot here. Like toward when Moxley did show up, that was when Shota Umino was getting elbowed to death in a similar fashion in the way that he kind of got hidden bladed to death when right in front of Red Shoes. This is right in front of Red Shoes also in this situation. But this time, Shota Umino just had that fighting spirit that you want to see in all of your great New Japan guys. And yeah, man, he just kept fighting. He kept going. There was a couple of moments there, especially because at this point, we all knew about Ospreay's future. I thought Shota Umino would be the guy at a couple of moments in this match, especially when he hit the spinning Death Rider and just it's an insane match. I can't even go into detail. Like you mentioned, the fact that it was 40 minutes in and they were still going and I didn't have a problem with it, they just show you how they beat the hell out of each other for a good 45 minutes.
Yeah, when wrestling works, and again, and I know they say it a lot sometimes, and it's bullshit with like wins and losses because they do matter. But Shooter coming out of this, you know, even in defeat, has gained
no one
so
lost.
much. Like, yeah, honestly, no one lost. You're right. Well, I tell you, what they did lose the UK and US belts because David Finney came out, said they were meaningless, and took a large mallet. Picture like, you know, Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
like
no.
The Mask, you know, like just a large mallet destroying both. I guess they don't like the titles, but we're going to get more on that in a little bit. New Japan also had Lone Star Shootout on November 10th, which I'll review in full at later date. But Zack Sabre Jr. versus Mike Bailey is as good as my voice sounds right now. It's fucking brilliant. Tag League semi-finals December 8th. The Mighty Don't Kneel, Shane Hayes to Mikey Nichols versus Gritters of Destiny. Eventually, Hikuleo would connect with a Snap Power Slam and Godsend for the win, once again leaving the Mighty Don't Kneel short of their goal. I tell you what, ELP and Hick as a team took some time getting used to, because I'm not used to them as faces, but they really are getting going. And Bishamon versus Bullet Club War Dogs, which was Gabe Kidd and Alex Coughlin. Yoshihashi and Coughlin had an intense chop battle, and Yoshihashi kicked out of the pump handle Death Valley Driver for reversing the second one into a crucifix bomb for the win. Alex has changed a lot this past year, I'm not going to lie, and Gabe is a real mouthpiece to the club. Right, no doubt about that. And then final December 10th, Bishamon defeated Gritters of Destiny. ELP hit a net breaker over his knee, but Gotu managed to kick out a 1. And they responded in getting the victory over ELP. They shook their hands and agreed to a match at Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah. So Bishamon again, most dominant tag team in New Japan, Monty, it looks like.
Yeah, man, they won Tag League. I think they're the first champions to do so, or at least the first ones in a while, to just go in through the tournament and win it. If you don't watch any other Tag League match, watch the final. Like I'm telling you, this was a star-making performance for El Phantasmo. And, you know, Hikuleo too, but really ELP, as you can tell, he really ingratiated himself in the hearts of those people because the way he fought. At one point, they put Hikuleo through a table with their finish, and Hikuleo really didn't return again. This is another match that went 40 minutes, but damn, will I tell you, it was an entertaining, awesome 40 minutes. ELP just kept fighting, would not stay down. He was kicking out of everything until he couldn't anymore. And what I really loved about this match is that Hikuleo, who had went through a table, really hit his head on the edge of that table. It was a tough bump. Guy was getting into the ring to try to help ELP towards the end. So it was like, they were just that close to possibly continuing to fight, even though they lasted 45 minutes with the champs. I love the fact that they chose them to fight again, because this is one of those tag matches where it's like, no, let them, they could go fight forever. Like, everyone knows the chant or the video game. This is one of those situations where it's like, no, that was awesome. So, yeah, if you're going to watch any tag league match, whether it's junior or heavyweights, go seek out the World Tag League final, Bishimon, ELP, and Hikuleo. It was awesome.
And we finished the year off in Japan on the 21st and 22nd of December. On the 21st, United Empire, Hinare, Cobb, and Greater Khan lost to Okada, Ishii, and Tanahashi.
Another awesome 6-man.
It's what I'm saying. Like, it's great stuff for nearly half hour. It just gets forgotten about. Like, I'm so glad that I've watched it and be like, yes, no, there is proof. Because I wouldn't remember it if you asked me now. And then the first ever coffin match. We never had a coffin match before in New Japan. Bullet Club War Dogs defeated Catch 22. I was surprised how easy War Dogs beat Catch 22, and they put a hell of a beating on TJP and used dog collars as well. This was a big statement.
Yeah. No, it was a setup. It was a nice setup for what we'll see at Wrestle Kingdom. But yeah, man, this was like you said, very physical. Surprising, like you said, because Catch 22 is just so damn good. And honestly, I was surprised with the booking. I knew that they would be fighting at Wrestle Kingdom, so I was like, "Oh, we're doing this, and we're gonna do it like this." But I loved it. It was completely unique. It was different, and you're 100% right. TJP took a beating. I think they kind of, they did something to Francisco Akira. They kind of like held him, like he couldn't help. That's the point. They beat the hell out of TJP, and they kind of like had Francisco pointed away.
Just so you know, so you're proud of me. I actually went back and watched this, and they handcuffed him, or like not. They tied him up with something, tied Akira's arm so that he couldn't get to TJP. But like, it bothered me watching the G1 what we're going to see, and I was like, yeah, but what led to this match? So I went back and watched this. So I highly recommend, like Monty said, to go back and watch this match first, because it was great. But just to fill in that little gap there, they had tied him up, like they beat him to a pulp first, so he was like kind of like. They didn't even need to really tie up his wrist or his arm or whatever, because they still were going to bury TJP anyway. But yeah, that's the only reason why Akira couldn't get to TJP at that point.
Right, well, good news.
There you go. That's a perfect cosign.
But I was about to say, good news, Jackson and Gina, because you're back in the game now. We've caught up with everything. We're basically at Wrestle Kingdom, but we've just got the press conferences. Gina, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to become a fan of press conferences now. And with New Japan, I especially like them before the event, because it makes it feel like a bigger deal. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, I don't catch them a lot, and so the snippets I do see are what you guys send to us on our group, and then when I do see them, I keep thinking to myself, man, I need to watch these, because they just seem to be so. It seems like a lot of entertainment comes out of them, and where I kind of just assumed that they would just be sit down sort of, I say boring interviews, but like interviews that maybe I wouldn't like necessarily be able to keep along with, because I don't watch New Japan that regular, is actually so entertaining, and it fills in so many blanks. And you know how we always like to make fun of how repetitive WWE likes to be in showing us what happened last week, because they show us in every ad break what happened last week. This is something that is needed for New Japan, but I'm happy for it to be in the interview stage, because it seems a lot pops off in there. So yeah.
And also, I find myself more intelligent because I'm reading subtitles when like the Japanese wrestlers are speaking, and I'm going, "This is like watching a foreign film," or something like that. Like I'm putting.
Yeah, I mean,
I watch so that's not for us. You're the only one who struggles with that.
I believe truly that I know Japanese subconsciously, just because of the amount of anime I watch. So sometimes when I do hear them speaking, part of me feels like I already know what they're saying, but the subtitles help.
Yeah, well, like I said, sometimes I kind of turn my head, and I'm sure I know what they've said. But again, that's another thing altogether. We'll talk about the press conference which happened January 3rd. Just quickly, we talk about Bullet Club War Dogs, dressed to impress in lovely white suits, I will say that, with no TJP, and Akira give an ominous warning. We see our president, Tanahashi, introduce himself. And, of course, Zack Sabre Jr., his opponent for the event. And he says when he beats Tanahashi, he wants to be Prime Minister. Now, I'm voting for Zack Sabre Jr. for Prime Minister. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
I am British, and I will vote for Zack Sabre Jr. to be Prime Minister. Let's do it. Let's get on it.
I'm British, and I would not vote for Zack Sabre Jr. to be Prime Minister.
Oh, sis, why you gotta be such a stick in the mud? Zack Sabre.
He was an asshole when I met him, and that will never be forgotten, sis. It will never be.
He was nice to you, and you weren't interested.
He was not, James. He was rude. He's not. He didn't get kicked in the balls.
I wasn't mad at it though. I wasn't mad at it. He stayed in character. You know.
Yeah, he put me in a submission.
Massive Tetris. Massive Tetris.
We see Yota Tsuji looking just happy to be there. There's something about his smile that I really like. He just looks so happy with Yuri Uemura as well. Evil and Renderita were less happy and ended up beating the shit out of Shooter and Kimiyo as well, which wasn't great. Shingo, I felt sorry for Shingo, Monty, not going to lie. Big talk about, how this is going to be his year and all that kind of stuff. And I just worry for him,
You were? Why? That's why? Because he's looking at the year optimistically?
Yeah,
what's your word?
No, because of what happened. When someone says, like, it's going to be my year, I'm going to go, and
then,
oh,
okay.
I mean, spoiler alert.
I thought you meant you watched it before the show and you felt bad for him initially before you knew it.
I should say no. After I don't feel bad for people's positivity. All right.
Okay, gotcha.
I just meant we'll move on quickly. ELP, what a motherfucker he is. Testing out the poor translator. Again, this is. I love about New Japan the fact that he can get away with this. I mean, I don't know how many times
he's the best, man.
Say fuck, but yeah, this is ELP at his best. I can't believe he's a babyface.
Right. He talks about his contract being up, and I'm just begging whoever, like, come on, man, give him the money, because I don't want to see him doing any censored promos. I don't want to see him anywhere. I don't see him anywhere else but Japan doing what he do because he's so great.
Don't do this to me. Don't take everyone that we're loving in New Japan and take them away from New Japan. Like, no, don't do that. Give ELP whatever money he wants.
Speaking of comments that come back to haunt you, Bishamon stated that they've won at Wrestle Kingdom the last couple of years and they're going as champions and they're promising to defend. We'll see what happens with that. El Desperado and Takahashi both have their own impressive reputations to defend as well. And of course, a nice little chat between the two. Hiromu with Quip, sorry, but Dragon Lee is mine. What's the story, Monty, with Dragon Lee? Was that meant to happen? Or was that a match meant to be booked?
Oh, definitely. Dragon Lee is the one who almost ended Hiromu's career, man. It wasn't on purpose, but they were having a great junior heavyweight match, and a spot went wrong. Hiromu landed on his neck, and for a while there, we had. Yes, it was a match with Dragon Lee. Yes, that's how great. I told you. Yeah, Dragon Lee is awesome. By the way, he was awesome in New Japan.
He's doing pretty well in NXT.
Right.
Getting there right now. He's on a hype.
Oh, but him and Hiromu has unfinished business. Hiromu has threatened multiple times to find Dragon Lee in America. It's not because they don't hate each other. They have a great respect for each other. But Hiromu has always wanted to finish that match. He always says it's the unfinished match of his career, mostly because he couldn't finish it. But yeah, man.
I'd be the same though. If you've had like this match like this, then you get injured, like a life-threatening injury, and you manage to come back, you're going to want to face the last person that actually like did that to potentially had been your last match. You want to reface
Right.
them, you know?
That's
Mhm.
why we all want Big E versus Ridge at WrestleMania. You know.
Okay. I don't know about WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't know about WrestleMania, but I will hands down see that. However, right now, I would just actually love to see Big E in the ring.
Just in general.
Yeah. So I'm just sending positive vibes to Big E to his neck, and hopefully we'll see the power of positivity soon.
No doubt. Well, what we did see was mentioned earlier as well. Finlay destroying the UK and US title, and we see the new IWGP Global Championship. It was shown to the public for the first time. A nice design, and commentary did it at Wrestle Kingdom. I'll try and remember what they said as well. They were talking about the World Championship, that the rest of the world come to New Japan to face the champion, whereas the global champion goes to face the rest of the world. And I quite like that.
Right.
Another thing I quite liked as well was how Finlay looked like he belonged a little bit beside Moxley and, of course, Will Ospreay. Again, funny when Ospreay and Moxley just decide, should we just team up for the first 5 minutes of the match and beat the shit out of Finlay? It's just like, yeah, all right, let's do it. And again, it's saying that it adds another layer to the match, Bonnie, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also goes hand in hand with the internet, because a lot of the internet was complaining, Japan and America or worldwide, they did not want Finlay in this match. They wanted one-on-one. So, and he took him out and took, and then that's another thing. It wasn't just Finlay's relationship with those two belts. Like, Ospreay created the UK belt. Moxley is the greatest US champion, pretty much made that belt for him, if you really want to be honest. And he's the greatest U.S. champion when that belt was there. So, yeah, no, they took it personally, what he did. And I think it was a nice touch, like you said, nice little detail to sprinkle on top of the triple threat.
I also just feel like with this triple threat getting announced, it's very like Mox doesn't play well with others. So to hear that him and Ospreay had this sort of like 5-minute truce, it already just intrigued you to want to watch the match, because you're just like, Mox and Ospreay having a truce, that's bullshit. You want to call bullshit on that straight away, because Mox don't play well with others. But yeah, we still got it, so it was fun.
And another thing as well, Moxley, is how good or how he seems more relaxed in New Japan. His promos and like the backstage comments and stuff are fascinating. He really is going into like detail about his career and everything it means to him as well. He really is open to it. We then get Bryan Danielson and Okada, with Danielson saying, am I angry? Yes. Do I want revenge? Yes. But am I grateful these injuries happened? Also, yes, because each time I get hurt, I come back better and bigger and stronger. Okada would reply in typical cool and casual style, saying he'd never taken time off due to an injury in his 20-year career, before daring Danielson, if you think you can break my arm, I want to see you try. I will still win with the Rainmaker. I mean, Jaxie, Okada there, very strong words. I mean,
that
does he really want to bet Danielson?
It was really hot though. It's putting main events on the line though. Their main moves on the line, isn't it? Really, like this has gone beyond like just a battle of talents. This is all about a battle of pride at this point between Okada and Danielson.
Yeah, without doubt. Like I said, it's personal, no titles, but you can just tell each of them, and even kind of like we talk about the build-up being arguably the best, from their generations. And it's what Wrestle Kingdom is all about. But we still had the main event, the press conference, and of course, Sanada was no comment. Naito said he wants to give the massive roll call in Tokyo. Now, why is the roll call so important to Naito, Monty?
Well, it's a history there, that's been it's the LIJ thing that he does when he basically gives a roll call of the members of the faction, including himself, and the fans usually sing along with him. He's never been able to complete that, either win a match, whether it was when he fought Okada in 2018 and he lost, even though I still to this day say he should have won, or whether in 2016 he lost his belt a little bit too soon, was not the champion at Wrestle Kingdom. Years before that, he got a main event took away from him, so even if he did win, he didn't get a chance to do the roll call that year. 2020, I think the pandemic, obviously, but also Kenta, attacked him, so that it got ruined then. So it's just been every time he's come close to finally either he doesn't capture the belt at Wrestle Kingdom and do it in the main event, or something happens to ruin the roll call. So and the last time, the one I'm talking about with Kenta, his grandfather, who he used to watch wrestling with, the reason why he loves New Japan so much, that was the last show that his grandfather was able to see. So he wasn't able to even do it in front of his grandfather who passed away. So this is really special tonight, though, man. It's one of the goals, along with winning the world title in the main event. The main goal was winning in the main event of Tokyo Dome, so he can do a LIJ roll call that he's done in many different arenas around Japan.
And if that's not setting the stage for Wrestle Kingdom 18, nothing is. So it's time, January 4th, 2024. We start with the New Japan Rambo. And this year's Rambo opened with Chase Owens and Great O'Khan. Of course, this is a battle royal with the final four going to New Year's Dash and the Fatal 4-Way. The first person to put the match after the open was Gabe Kidd, followed by second War Dog Alex Coughlin. Jeff Cobb was next to enter, helping the others, especially his faction mate O'Khan, challenge the War Dogs. And Nare followed, giving the United Empire an even more significant advantage. Together, they eliminated Kidd and Coughlin. Ishii made his way to the ring. Michael Nichols entered next, followed by Shane Hayes, both of TMDK. Yujiro Takahashi joined the match. TMDK eliminated Cobb and then Hare as Master Wato walked to the ring. Yoshika Nobu followed. Yo sprinted to the ring, only to be attacked with his own shoes as soon as he made it inside. What the fuck was going on with Yo there, Monty? what was that?
The rainbows. If it's one thing,
laughing so much.
Yeah, if it's one thing about the battle, that battle royal is always shenanigans, to say the least. That's the best way to explain it. I could try to give you this whole backdrop story about showing Yo. There's no point. Like Yo,
but I just thought. Is it saying that he doesn't get changed for matches? Again,
no, I don't know. This was new. This was brand new. He's never done that before. Yeah.
James, I had a really good imagination as to what happened to Yo's shoes. So, Monty, hear me out. Just go with this, right? I think that it was kind of like Harry Potter's Luna Lovegood. And just like Luna at the end of one of the movies was looking for her trainers that someone decided to remove and tie up somewhere, and she was walking around Hogwarts Castle barefoot. I think someone hid Yo's shoes and they put them above the ring. That's what I think happened.
So you're saying
let's go with
Yo believes in narwhals. That's what
you're saying is that Yo is a Ravenclaw and everyone knows it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we get
wow.
Fujita Hayato from Michinoku Pro stopped Sho and Yo from fighting and carried them to the ring. Taiji Ishimura entered as Ishii, eliminated Haste. Yujiro eliminated Ishii and Nicholas. Doki joined the match but was eliminated alongside Fujita Jr. shortly after entered. Toru Yano walked into the ring next but refused to enter the ring. Yano is my type of dude.
That's his signature move, by the way.
I know he's won one before doing that. All right,
the same thing. Yeah, never get in the ring. Yeah.
We see Takashi Iizuka, who retired 3 years ago, joining next.
Yeah,
the fans lost their shit, and I was going, "What?"
Oh, yes, oh my god, I love Iizuka. He used to be one of my favorite members of Suzuki-gun back in the day. The only thing I used to tell you, as a matter of fact, him and Yano has a history back when Yano was a serious heel, bad guy. Iizuka used to be just as serious, and that was back when he had his brain. He's possessed by the Iron Claw that you will see make an appearance. So I know that it sounds crazy, but it's legitimately what I just said. He's possessed. He's a monster. He's more monster than man at this point. Used to be a great amateur wrestler, like you mentioned. That's why he hasn't had he retired 3 years ago. He came back in awesome shape, slimmed down. I was like, what is he gonna make a comeback full time? He looked great. But yeah, man, the people lost their mind because we haven't seen Iizuka legitimately since his retirement show. the poor announcer man that used to torment for years was obviously terrified. And as you saw later,
I
he
wondered
needed
what
to
was
be.
going on. Yeah.
No, Iska always attack that same poor announcer man. And he's just uncontrollable. That's the best way to describe him. An uncontrollable monster who lost his brain because it became possessed by the Iron Claw that you will see his handler brought out.
Yeah, I thought the passing of the Iron Finger was something completely different, but no, it wasn't.
No.
Tochi went for a hug, but Iska bit him.
Yes. That's his former handler. Yano was his handler at first. He bit him too, so yeah.
Well, this opened the door for the rest of the competitors, eliminated them. The final five, Ishimori, Owens, Yano, Yo, and Okan worked for eliminations, and Okan eliminated Owens by dropping on the apron, leaving Ishimori, Owens, Yano, and Okan as the winners, and Tamale advanced to challenge for the KOPW 2024 title. All right, Gina, start us off then. I mean, this was a lot of fun, but as you can tell when I speak to Monty, I didn't know what was going on half the time.
No, I definitely felt lost when watching this. I'm not going to lie. I had no idea who was going to be in this. I had no idea who was going to be a favorite to come out on top. It felt like carnage, but it felt like good carnage, if you ask me, because again, for those of us who aren't very familiar, it was more exciting to be like, okay, who's coming out next? Who's coming out next, sort of thing. But yeah, it was a very entertaining match. Wait, was this the one where like Yo came out and he lost his shoe before he even got to the ring?
Yes.
I don't understand what happened there, because he was on his way out and then did someone go and meet him on the ramp and he just lost his shoe, and then eventually he ended up losing the second shoe, and by the time the match had ended he was just stood in the ring with no shoes on.
Yeah, he was like hugging the ropes at one point as well, like just literally, making a relationship with the ropes. Yeah, I don't know what was happening. He was getting real friendly.
He had a sore match, I'd call it.
Well, what do you score this out of 5 to start us off, Gina?
I mean, I'm going to score it a 4 because it was exciting for me. Because again, I don't know, I didn't know who was going to be coming out next, who was going to be a favorite to be in the top 4. So it was really exciting to watch. So I'm going to give it a 4.
Jaxie, what about you? What did you score it, and what were your thoughts?
This match just served for one purpose for me, and that was just making me actually just love Toru Yano. Oh my god, he's so stupid. I just don't even know why I love him. But like, the more and more I see him in the ring, the more and more I'm itching to find out what excuse he's going to come up with next as to why he can't fight this person or why he can't be in the ring with this person. Like, he's just so entertaining. I gave this a 4 as well, and I think it was more like the excitement behind not knowing who was coming out, when they were coming out, and how this was going to go. This is one of those ones where, like, I'm pleasantly surprised by each person that was involved in the match coming out, rather than like a WWE moment where it's just the jobbers all coming out, so that like no one but the one main person that was advertised for the Battle Royale was going to win. So for me, I just felt like the anticipation behind who was involved in this match made this match even more exciting. So I have to agree and give it a 4.
Yeah, I became a Yano fan when one of his matches, because he always takes the turnbuckles off, and so, his opponent had taped. So when he tried to take off, he just didn't understand why he couldn't be taken. He just lost his shit.
He got the turnbuckle off, and he couldn't understand why the bit had been taped down. That was actually really funny.
Monty, you've seen many a Rambo. What were your thoughts on this one? Because it's just fun.
Yeah, and that's what they're all about. Like, Gina, you mentioned not knowing who was in it. That's the whole point. It's all a surprise. It's all completely random. I remember when Tatsumi Fujinami, one of the greatest of all time, showed up, and he's like 70-something, barely can move, and just still he goes out there in the Battle Royal, and he has a great little run. And I think when I think about that, I think Iska really made this special for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at something like that, and then you see that last week with Ric Flair getting into the ring, and I instantly was like, get out of the ring, Tony. Stop right now.
Right, exactly. It's a little bit different in Japan.
Yeah.
Right. It's a little different, but yeah, no, it's like you guys really mentioned. You got it. Like I think some people who really hate these matches, they come into it expecting a Royal Rumble, or they come into it expecting about a battle royal that means something. When in reality, this does have stakes, but this is a lot more lax. A great creative way to get everyone who don't have an important match on the show too. So I always enjoy these. This is probably my favorite one that I watched because again, I miss Iska. I was just like you guys when I first seen Iska, like, what the hell is up with this guy? Then when you do the research and you find out that he used to take wrestling very serious, then he lost his brain to an iron claw. Think about how ridiculous that is. But it is great though. It's great.
Oh
like what
him
you get
would be like the best of friends right now. You know, like Albert lost his mind and became besties with a mop. So
exactly. But yeah, no, it was awesome. Four is fair to me because I don't want to give it too high, but it was definitely a very, very, definitely a good time.
I'm not saying Shawn Michaels is watching NXT, but after we had the Heritage Cup kind of leagues, and then we just had a Battle Royal that turned into a Fatal 4-Way, and I'm going, where does he get these ideas?
Where do you get that idea from? It's a great point.
Should say as well, not mention it, the setup and the stadium itself looked
awesome,
great.
Man.
Yeah, it was.
No, I'd say it's really good seeing the crowd finally coming back. You know, like we've had the tough times now. Now they're building it.
They sold like 25,000 more tickets than last year.
Oh wow!
Thank you, Naito.
Nice.
And the lighting was great as well. Like, again, they could show the crowd. All, like you said, the floor level was sold out. And also no Kevin Kelly. I think for the first time since New Japan World's been a thing.
2015,
Walker Stewart, who took his role. Not literally. Chris Charlton as well. And Rocky Romero joined them for the main show. And I'm going to talk about it in a bit, but my God, I am a huge fan of Rocky Romero. I'm going to give this 4 as well. And we didn't do predictions because we didn't know who was going to be in it. Crazy. Next match, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. Catch 2-2, Francisco Akira and TJP versus Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors and Driller Maloney. TJP emerged from the casket he was sealed in on December 21st. He was dressed as Aswang. I don't want to say Arswang. Filipino cryptid. Akira was also in special attire with his body painted in green flames. The War Dogs' entrance was also unique as they debuted the new all-white junior tag belts. The challengers started the match by rushing the champions, but the War Dogs gained advantage on the floor. Connors attached a collar chain to TJP, choking him against the barricade while Maloney beat down Akira. Back in the ring, the War Dogs continued to attack on a completely isolated Akira. TJP eventually freed himself, saving his partner with a tag while taking out the War Dogs with intensity. Rally was short-lived as War Dogs bounced back fast. They hit TJP with a driller killer, but he broke the count by grabbing the hand of the referee. TJP then bit Maloney before spraying him with a mist, a la Muta, and then Catch Suzu hit Maloney with tandem knees to win the match and the belts. Jaxie, what are your thoughts not only on this match, but on TJP as well? Because he looked great.
Right? I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was very much invested in listening to the commentators throughout this match because they were talking about that this character that TJP had become was very much to do with his, I think he said Filipino or Thai heritage, and that
it's Filipino.
God, yeah, Filipino, that's it. It just made me want to look up Filipino heritage, Filipino gods, and actually, invest it more in this character he became. He intrigued me right from the get-go. This wasn't the same TJP that you watch in Catch 22 in tag team action, and that's a lot coming from me that hasn't been watching New Japan week in, week out religiously, but know this team quite well. So to see TJP on this type of level, I've got to admit, he has completely intrigued me. I was obsessed watching this match. His eyes were so intense. He really gave me Bray Wyatt vibes, like the Fiend type vibes, but in a way that just didn't feel like. And I again, this is not the right word, but I'm just trying to describe how different it was to the Fiend. But like the way that the Fiend came across with when it was when he was first advertised with that Fiend's belt, and it looked very novelty, childlike. It's different, you know. I think
it's very
whether
demony. Do you know what I mean? Like with Finn Balor as well. Like the different.
I was just about to say, yeah. Finn Balor's a better comparison to me, but yeah.
Exactly. And I think also, knowing of TJP's Filipino background, and that he's brought this entity, this character of this entity into this line of work, it was very creative. He really got me right from the entrance, right from Akira opening that coffin, and you just seeing the work he was doing with that bone-fingered hand. And I was like, I'm already sold. I don't know what's happening, but just give it to me on a plate, you know? I was very much into this match. I was invested right from the get-go, and I didn't want to look away. Each move that TJP or Akira did, it was insane, and it just it was great. So I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. TJP on 205 Live, CWC becoming the first Cruiserweight champion was excellent. Him in Impact, I remember watching an Iron Man match with Josh Alexander a couple of years ago, which was fantastic. And Catcher 2-2 are the lifeblood of the junior tag division, Monty, I think you would say. I mean, this is about TJP hopefully maybe stepping out. As we know, Will Ospreay from, he's walking away. They need a leader. Could TJP do it?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great choice. I think, like I said, it'll be I think the smartest probably unless he's planning on going somewhere too is Jeff. I just think Jeff Cobb deserves way more than being in the as great as that Battle Royal is. He deserves way more than just being in that Battle Royal. But TJP is definitely right there, if not second or third behind Okan. So yeah, I think I definitely can see what you're saying. But honestly, right now in the junior heavyweight division, I think as long Catch-22 is already becoming, or if not already is, a legendary junior heavyweight tag team, I think the first step will probably be just going out on his own in the junior heavyweight division. That's usually the route they go. Kind of like Will won the junior heavyweight title, ran with that for a while before he eventually became heavyweight. So I think that could possibly be more in the cards in the immediate future. But I understand exactly what you're saying. He's awesome. He's always been awesome, and I just think like Jackson and you got like you just pointed out, this adds a new layer to him. And like Finn always had that. Finn when he was Prince Devitt in Japan, he only pulled out the paint in big time shows, kind of similar to what they were trying to do in WWE. I think that's probably what we're going to get out of this character from TJP. You're probably only going to see it in big time moments. Or it could be more like an alter ego he can go into, more so than a stick around character. But we'll see. I like I said, this match was really, really cool, and I really liked what the War Dogs were doing too with the belts. They were a good, solid team, and I think it solidified them also. Especially I really like Driller. Like as much as I like Clark Connors, I really like Driller Maloney. Like he got the potential to be really
dirtiness.
Good, man.
Do you know what I mean?
He's so gritty, man. I think, as a matter of fact, him turning on the Empire makes perfect sense now if you look at him.
Can we stop covering him in car grease or something like that? Because I swear
it's just hairy and dirty.
Yeah, man.
He did look dirty. And it's it didn't even look like a tan. I'm sorry. I couldn't even. I think he's brilliant. He's not a wrestler that I'm accustomed to. So this really was my first viewing of him. I think he could be great. His wrestling is great. That tan though, dude, seriously, swear out, seriously, is worse than Adam Cole's. I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to look on the bright side. He is English, so let's give him that.
I like junior heavyweights with power, and that's what Driller is, man. Driller is powerful and he's explosive. So I think them as a tag team, or just him in general, the War Dogs have a lot of great potential when it comes to what they are bringing to the table going into next year.
Yeah. Well, I think the big question.
Or this year.
I'll ask Gina this. This is the big question. Must have been well hot in that mouse, though, because it was plastic, wasn't it? So, I mean, how can you wrestle a match? I'll be dead.
What, wrestle in that mask?
Yeah, the plastic mask. Because it's plastic.
Yeah, I mean, it is questionable on, like, how big are the air holes? Like, is breathing easy, or is it really, like, difficult, and is his lungs doing double the work right now during this match, you know?
So I think he hasn't actually got eye contacts in his eyes, just fed because struggling to breathe.
It's like, can he breathe? Can he see? Like, basically, he wants to wrestle with all of his senses taken away from the sounds of it.
Right. The good thing about the ass wing is, though, they shape shield, so he can come out looking completely different if he wants to. So he can switch it
up. Right, so out of 5, Jaxie, what would you give that match out of 5?
I mean, I've got to give TJP like it just sort of like commendation for even just putting the effort and 100% into that whole character that he brought out to. So for me, I really enjoyed this match. I'm gonna give it a 4 1/4.
4 1/4. Monty?
Yeah, it was an awesome way to get things started. Great, like you said, new character reveal. I love it. Anytime you're doing something completely different, I'm always down to check it out. So yeah, 4 1/4 is probably where I would land to.
And Gina.
Yeah, I thought this match was great, and it showed me TJP in a complete different light. I gave it a 4 1/4 as well.
I'm going to give it a 4. Predictions. Well, new year, new prediction league. That didn't last long, did it? So we start our bonus league today. And Jaxie picked War Dogs. Rest went catch 2-2. So it means Jaxie is on 0. The rest are on 1.
I thought I wouldn't catch 22. Did I not?
War Dogs.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. See? It's already gone.
It's already gone.
This year's already gone. Start again in 2025. Go on.
Right, let's include WK18 into the 2023 mix, and we're going to start fresh after this, okay?
Well, we'll find out what happens. Still a long way to go in the card. Up next, the World Television Championship, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. tried grappling early, but Tanahashi answered with 2 quick twists and shouts, a sling blade, and a crossbody for attempting high fly flow. But Zack blocked Tanahashi's finish with his knees and transitioned to bridging pin that nearly won him the match. We see a short strike exchange. The pair traded trap pins. Zack escaped. He scored a sleeper before transitioning to an octopus hold. And again, it's a commentary. We're going to mention this a lot. Talking about, Billy Robinson and wrestlers like this. Zack only having a submission only for 5 or 6 seconds, because if you've not tapped by then, he then transitions into something else. We saw a lot of this. Zack attempted to follow up with Zack driver, but Tanahashi reversed into a quick pin. The pair rolled back and forth, trading pins. And after a slew of attempts, Tanahashi pinned Zack to the mat for free. And your new World Television Champion, it is Hiroshi Tanahashi. Wow. Monty, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, the president won. Is that much of a surprise? Yeah.
President Ace. I mean, historically speaking, no, it's not a surprise, because he's before he was the president, he was unstoppable on this stage. But to be honest, the only thing that got me was the reason why I even beginning of this, I was like, yeah, well, Tanahashi is always somebody who can win, but this is something I think Zack should probably do. It's always been that time limit. Anytime Tanahashi's ever beat Zack in the past, it has never been less than 15 minutes. He usually takes a long time, and he usually gets tortured throughout the process, because Zack used to just destroy his knees and his, the same thing kind of did in this match, the knees and the leg attack. But this was a lot faster paced, because it had to be with the time limit. And, it ended up being a really solid affair. I've seen these guys do better. I've been spoiled that I got a chance to watch these guys have absolute banger of matches years ago. But I thought this was perfect for what it needed to be in the not only in this time slot because it is a TV title match, but just for what they executed. Now, like I said, do I agree with the decision? No, not really, because I thought Zach's run was awesome. But I do agree with it from this perspective that this frees Zach up to challenge guy, for a different belt later on, depending on whether he wants to go global, wants to go, IWGP heavyweight. So honestly, from that perspective, I think it's cool because I love Zach being able to do whatever he wants going forward. But at the same time, I really was enjoying his TV title run, so I can't wait to see what Tanahashi do to kind of keep up that prestige. Because man, Zach was on a run out of this world.
Like you said, 16 defenses and a year reign, and we could have done more with it. Like it's unbelievable.
Right, it's incredible, huh? Yeah.
And with Zach himself, only 36, you wonder how far he can go in New Japan. I know we've mentioned him a lot, but I truly believe he's a guy that could, fill that Will Ospreay.
No, that's the spot. That's what I'm. What you were talking about earlier, that's the guy. Yeah, Zach is the guy. 100%. He's turned down millions of dollars from WWE because after the Cruiserweight Classic, WWE wanted him, told him no. AEW has tried, told him no. Reward this man. That's all I have to say about this.
Until he leaves next year, but until that point, who knows? But again, for a match, I mean, Gina, this was a really good match because it showed, even with a time limit, what both could do with a space of time. And again, it felt like a big deal.
Yeah, it definitely did feel like a big deal. And like you said, like it just felt like, no amount of time that passed during the match, it just felt like they could have kept going forever. It literally, I kind of figured if they did more chanting around there, they'd have Fight Forever going on there because the match was just so good and it was hard to kind of take your eyes away from it. So there was definitely no toilet breaks during this match.
Yeah, without a doubt. Monty, what would you score this out of 5 to start off?
I give it a 4. Like I said, it was really, really good stuff. The thing is, I've just been kind of jaded because I've seen them go a couple gears higher. I hate that I'm punishing them for that, but this was really good. I gave it 4.
Gina?
Yeah, I gave it a 4 as well.
Yeah. And Jaxie, what's your score and what were your thoughts?
I think I've judged this match pretty harsh. I was really pissed off that Zack Sabre Jr. lost, and I'm really sorry, Monty, but I couldn't help but feel like Tanahashi becomes president, so Tanahashi puts a belt on himself. That's all I could think. So this pissed me off, this match. So I know I might be better, I might be cis, and I do not care, but it's kind of like another Charlotte Flair situation where one thing pisses me off and then every decision you make after that continues to piss me off. So what does Tanahashi do? Give himself a belt. Okay, well, you pissed me off then. So I do agree. I think Zack Sabre Jr. had a great run as TV champion. Did I actually expect him to lose it here? No, I did not. So for that reason alone, I gave it a 3 3/4.
Woohoo!
Lane Gato books. Gato books.
Wow. We need to have words.
I'm going to give it a 4 1/4. Predictions, just to piss Jaxie off even more. We all went Zack Sabre Jr., so she's still on 0. The rest is on 1. We get Uemura versus Yota Tsuji next. Tsuji attempted a Gene Blast, but Uemura reversed with an arm drag. Tsuji transitioned to a pin and followed up with a curb stomp. Once Uemura kicked out, he avoided the second curb stomp, landed a suplex, score near fall. Uemura did this opportunity pass, followed up with a deadbolt suplex into a pin, winning the match. And this was a surprise. I mean, Gina, what's your thought on this? Because this is 2 young guys, and you could see how much it meant for both of them to be there wrestling at this occasion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this match, I don't really know these 2 wrestlers that well. So, out of everyone on the match card, I'd say this is the one that I kind of truly went in blind because I didn't really know much about either wrestler. And so I wasn't sure who was going to win. And if I'm truly honest, I'm still struggling to tell which one was which. But I know one of them more as Teeth. I nicknamed him Teeth.
Yeah.
Which one's that guy?
So
Suji. That's the
I
one
wrote
you said nice
Suji
hair as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my notes, I've got Suji Teeth, and then I've got Uemura hair. Uemura
Okay.
hair.
Yeah, you're more used to being Impact, so that's a bit unfair for me.
But no, the match itself was good. Like you said, like you could tell that both these guys were trying to prove to each other that they could beat each other. And it seems like, obviously, if you don't know any of their past, it seemed like they had a lot of, not beef, but they worked with each other a lot in the past. And one of them seemed to get a win up on the other. So this match felt really important to both of the wrestlers in the ring. And I really felt it for them. I'm disappointed because I didn't get the win, but I wouldn't have known who was going to get this win. So
Monty, just to fill us in a little bit, these two started training together back in the day, didn't they, as young lions?
Young lions in the same class. Yep, definitely. Suji used to. That was actually the one guy he would dominate. Would be Uemura, but they trained together a lot. I think they were even partners for a period of time. But Uemura went away for a long time, and even his excursion was a little bit different than Suji's, because when he went to Impact, he even started taking bookings and saying he was gonna possibly let his contract run out and do more stuff in America instead of coming back. Obviously, they got that worked out and he came back. Suji, on the other hand, had to wait a little longer to go on excursion, but when he went, he came back faster and came back like a bat out of hell, and he went to Mexico and just completely transformed himself into the monster that you see in that ring with that explosiveness. And just Uemura was one of those guys who was always natural. When you watch him as a young lion, you can see what he would become. Suji, you didn't see this. And I think that's the thing that makes Suji so special to me, was that he came kind of out of nowhere with the athleticism. I knew he played American football, but, whatever. I don't know. What does that mean when it comes to wrestling a lot of time? Well, in his case, it means he's deceptively athletic and he's unbelievable. But anyway, this was just a continuation of their rivalry, because I kind of told you guys earlier, Renda Rita and Shota were even. Well, in this case, Suji kind of dominated as a young lion, while Uemura did not did not really do really well against Suji. So this is one of those situations where and when I was making my pick, I kind of went with who I liked the most, and I probably shouldn't have did that.
Yeah, the good thing
because it makes the most sense for Uemura.
The good thing about New Japan, is like you said, even though Suji has got more maybe upside, that you have the other guy win, because then he can be put on that level. It's much like, even we've done it through history. Chris Jericho, probably a bad point right now, but becoming undisputed champion,
against Austin and The Rock.
Exactly. Yeah. So stuff like this. I think for me, I want to see Suji's mean streak. But again, he's just getting started, so I think that's
it's coming. Smile is great, but it's a little bit unhinged. Give it time.
Good.
Give it time.
I like unhinged smiling.
Right.
Don't want to say that too quick. Right. So, Gina, what would you score this out of 5?
Do you know what? This match actually did captivate me quite a lot, and it surprised me on how much I actually did enjoy it. I'm going to give it 3 3/4.
3 3/4. Monty?
Yeah, I think 3 3/4 is actually pretty fair. It was a really good match, and I think this is the future of New Japan. Right there, those two guys, they will be leading the charge or helping lead the charge behind two guys in the next match. So I love this little part of the show, because this was a kind of a nice teaser, because some of these guys might be going on later in the show next Wrestle Kingdom.
Well, the thing is as well, and the thing I liked about the backstage comments and stuff like that, was very open, and Suji and Uemura were talking about wanting to, like I said, face each other again in the main event of a Wrestle Kingdom down the road for the title or whatever it is. So I thought that was quite cool. So, Jaxie, what were your thoughts on looking into the future of New Japan?
I have to agree with a lot of what you guys have said. Again, the one thing that I agree with my sister on is that I did not know much about either of these wrestlers coming into this match. The one thing I agree with that Monty has said is that they could potentially be the future of New Japan, because these two really captivated you the moment you got in the ring. I had done my prediction or whatever, but I genuinely did not know who I wanted to win out of this match. I think that both of them just showcased themselves really well, and I think if you give them another year or two, they could really start to perfect some characters that will draw you in to like actually make a choice as to which one you'd like. And I'm intrigued by this, so I'm definitely invested in seeing both of their progression throughout New Japan. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give it a 3 3/4 as well.
Yep, I'm going to complete this set. 3 3/4 there. Predictions, we all went Suji, apart from Jaxie, for all on one. And can I say, on the fourth match, it's a rough start for predictions for everybody here. Let's see if we can improve with House of Torture, Evil, and Ren Narita versus Keita Kiyomiya, Shota Umino. All of House of Torture was here. The attempt to take advantage early, but Kiyomiya responded with a fiery attack. He fought off Kanemaru on his own while maintaining control over Evil. House of Torture tried to rush the ring again, choking the babyfaces as he did at the press conference yesterday. Kiyomiya held them off momentarily, but distraction allowed Evil to land. Everything is Evil, leaving Narita in control of Umino. So Umino gained control back. Hero distracted the referee, allowing Narita to strike Umino with his push-up bar. Narita then hit Umino with a double-cross spike and pinned him to win the match. So, Jaxie, another match and, for me, another surprise result. But what were your thoughts on this?
Which one's this one again? Which match did you just say?
House of Torture versus Shooter. And
this wasn't like my favorite match of the card, but I think that so okay, maybe Sensei can help me out with this, but where like I get that Shota Umino's having like a bad like bad luck, right? But I don't understand why Noah Man came out for the save in the first place to warrant this match. Like, has House of Torture gone after Noah Guy before as well? Is that the reason why he was part of this match? Because it just kind of felt like Shota and Noah Guy didn't really have much chemistry together as a tag team,
Yes, Kaito was attacked by House of Torture at Wrestle Kingdom last year, and they also went to Noah and fought House of Torture, Kaito. So yeah. Kaito hates House of Torture, so this was just him kind of jumping in to help the young fella, even though he's a young fella. And let's just be real. I think a lot of this has a lot. The thing is, Shota's backup is in another match later. To be honest, his most consistent backup is Moxley, and Moxley had things to do. So I think that's the main reason why he ended up with Kaito.
Yeah, I think maybe that is, from someone who hasn't been watching New Japan like week in, week out. Maybe that's the reason like I felt like a little bit of a disconnection with this match, because I was kind of like, if anyone was going to team up with Shota, then it would have been Mox out like over Noah Guy, because if I didn't really know about this feud between him and House of Torture. So for me, I felt a little bit confused as to why this match was like kind of taking place and these two teaming up. That makes sense now. That being said, there's got to be some sort of change for Shota, right? He is having like a really bad end to his year and a very bad beginning to 2024. He's either consistently betrayed or he's just screwed over. And it looks like it's really weighing down on him. I don't know if you guys really saw sort of him after the match and like sort of getting out the match, but it looked like he was like really like his face was just full of defeat. Defeat at like trying to get that one over on House of Evil, but also just the defeat and everyone continuously coming for Shota. Like, what has this man done to piss everyone off? Seriously.
I think that's
okay. Well, I was gonna say I can answer. Go ahead.
Go on. No, but I say if you can answer.
I do if you can tell me why he's got this bad luck, if there's a specific reason, I genuinely want to know, because it's kind of like, Jesus, I feel for the guy. He gets fire to the face last year, but from a wizard, And now he's like, he just can't even get into a decent tag team match. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Shota. Explain.
Well, one, he's chosen, and you got that. So the reason why a lot of people have come after him, not only did he have the referee as his father, so heels hate red shoes. So there you go. They're gonna hate his son, but that's a small detail. To be honest,
wait.
Red shoes is his father. Please tell me you knew that.
Oh, we've said that. Come on.
Come on now.
We've said it on the pod.
Not in real life. You got no joke.
Yes, that's why Ospreay beat the hell out of Shota in front of his father the very first time they fought. He beat him into a pulp right in front of Red Shoes and tried to make Red Shoes stop the match, and Red Shoes wouldn't do it. But yeah, that's his dad.
Sis, did you know about Red Shoes, or is this just me finding this out about Red Shoes?
James knew, I know.
No, this is the first I've heard of it. So
they don't listen to us.
They don't listen to us, Molly.
They don't listen to us. They don't listen to us, Jack.
Hey, listen, I listen when I can. I'm 2 weeks behind on normal wrestling because I was focused so much on New Japan. So I have
Jericho even said that his dad was rich.
This year, okay, Monty? This year. It's been like 2.5 years. Yeah, no one listens to Jericho anyway.
But yeah, besides that, that's a small detail. He was betrayed by Ren Narita. So the defeat you saw is a lot more of. He said he would never lose to Ren Narita again, and Ren Narita promised Shota the same thing. The difference is, and kind of like what I mentioned later when I mentioned guys who came up together but chose their own path. Ren Narita has obviously chosen the more twisted. I'm going to go with join the House of Torture path. And because at first they called him a Shibata clone and all that, and I think Ren Narita realized he had a lack of direction. So I know it sounds crazy. Let me join the House of Torture for direction, but at least he has something now that he didn't have before, which is a little bit of an identity. Shota Umino has come in and has immediately taken up the fact that he seems to be the next ace of New Japan. Like, I think everyone can kind of see it. The way his physique looked, the way he wrestled, he's the most naturally gifted and the one that you can just look at and be like, no, out of the Three Musketeers, out of Tsuji, him, and not Ren Narita, he's the one that you can tell is going to be the guy. But I think that's why he gets a lot of the vitriol that he gets.
Yeah, it's definitely intrigued me to kind of continue watching Ren's progress going forward after this match, because rightly so, we could easily go Shota Umino definitely should have been winning this match against Ren, but it very much like a Takeshita moment where Takeshita pinned Kenny clean one-on-one. It was kind of like that moment with Ren and Shota. So I'm definitely intrigued to see where things are going to go. I feel like Shota, unfortunately, has been on such a real bad losing streak. I mean, things can only go up from here with him. I can't seem to see how it could get worse for Shota at this point.
I think they're doing it. There's always a reason for it. And again, I'm surprised that maybe he didn't have a singles match at Wrestle Kingdom. But again,
that's my problem with this match.
But again, if we're all talking about Shota being the one ready, and even my mind being being slightly ahead, even with association with Moxley, then maybe they're going like, let's keep him back a little bit and let's see if we can, build Ren to that point, because we're going to get Ren and Shota one-on-one matches, you know what I mean?
For years to come.
We get that.
Yes.
So again, it just seems, but it's interesting to hear, because obviously me watching it kind of full time now, yeah, it does make more sense, to have Tsuji and Uemura maybe in a tag, and then Shota and Ren. But we're gonna get it, We'll say for Ren, nice hood, but he's changed, man. But like I said, we're looking forward
he's completely different, right? You watched him in Strong. He's completely different, right, Joe?
He's completely different.
He's crazy. Like, it's the same thing that happened to Show. Like I said, Show used to be mild-mannered, quiet, and he joined House of Torture and he turned into a psychopath with a wrench. And then you got Yo, who used to always be charismatic, and he was the opposite. I think a similar thing went on here with Ren Narita and Shota, when you got the charismatic, obviously, we love you guys with Yo and Shota Umino, but then you got these guys who just loses it because things didn't go like you thought it would go on your initial run, and they just go crazy when they join up with Evil, which makes sense if you want to be philosophical.
Yeah.
Join Evil, lose your mind.
The entrances probably took longer than match, but I'm not complaining, especially when it comes to,
they
how
were
I feel about House of Torture. Like, I'm not.
Right, they were wrestling.
Anyway, so scores, Jaxie, after all that explanation, what are you going to give it?
I'm going to give this a 3.5, and I'm not going to change my original score that I gave it just because I now know a bigger context for it, because at the time when I was watching this match, there was still slight confusion for me, so I'm going to give it a 3.5 for like mainly my confusion as to why Shota and it was his name Kaito from Noah, why those two were even partnered together. So I'll keep it as 3.5.
Look on the bright side, though. People listening to this pod know exactly what's going on. They can watch Wrestle Kingdom now and have all this extra knowledge. Exactly.
So, guys, don't listen to my score. Still go watch the match, but I'm not going to change my score after I've already written down 3.5. I'm actually going to be good and stick to my original score.
Monty, what do you give it?
3.5. Like, I really... That's why it's funny that you say you talk about changing your score. Like, change to what, lore? Like, it wasn't that good, honestly. They were rushing.
Yeah, I would have actually gone a little bit lower, but then I felt like I was being judgmental.
I mean, whatever. Just do what you want to do. But to be honest, though, like, I felt like this match from the beginning should have been Ren, Narita, and Shota. Honestly, there was a clear, concise story that you could have told from the betrayal. Of course, House of Torture was going to come out there. So, we could have did it straight up for 10, 15 minutes. Like, House of Torture was going to be
all
there.
Japan
like,
is run-ins and ref bumps and weapon shots.
It's a lot of it. It's a lot of it. Gato loved Memphis Championship. So thank Memphis. Gato loved Southern Championship Wrestler. So, yeah, I think that's where he got a lot of that from. But anyway, House of Torture, we know what's going to happen. But Ren Narita, I will say this. The best part of this match was the finish. And what I mean about that is with the push-up bar. As young lions, they shared that push-up bar, looked at each other face to face, and motivated each other to get done with their 1,000 push-ups a day that they have to do. Yes, 1,000. Yeah.
Is that a day or a lifetime?
A day. Seriously, no, a day. Same thing with squats.
I've not done it yet.
Push up and squat 1,000 a day. That's the young lion workout. But yeah, it's insane. But you wonder why these guys' bodies change like it do. It's because of stuff like that. But yeah, man. They used the push-up bar. Ren Narita did that and then set up for the finish. That was the best part of the match because it had a story within it. That's another reason why I just said take out the other two. As much as I love Evil, even though I know everyone hates Evil, he always got a special place in my heart. Kaito, I love him. I understand y'all want to give him on the show, but honestly, they weren't needed here. The bigger story and the best part of this match was between Shota and Ren. And I think that's why I give it 3.5.
Yeah, Gina, what did you think of Ren's push-up bar? Impressed by that? And what was your score?
Yeah, I actually was impressed by it. The thing is, I recognized Ren from watching some New Japan's sort of earlier in the year, and I was kind of shocked he was in this match. I was like, oh, he's big enough to be in this match card. Then, again, this is me not having known any sort of backstory about him, but I just knew who Ren Narita was. So for me, when I did go into this match, I was a little bit confused as well, but I did kind of enjoy it. And I actually agree and think that joining like Evil and House of Torture will actually really help Ren Narita make something of his character, because his character, I don't want to say was a bit stale, but for me, he was a little bit like that. There wasn't anything sort of like pushing him out as special to me. So now that he's like a part of the House of Torture, I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen going forward for him. So I'm now invested in him more. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 as well. But I did really enjoy this match, and it shocked me on how much I enjoyed it.
See, the House of Torture helped someone.
House of Torture. I'm not gonna do it. Predictions.
Shut up, James.
Also, actually, just say to Monty because I think Monty just brought this up. I actually really like Evil. What's people's problem with Evil? I actually think he's great. I think that
You
him
think
and
Evil's great.
No, like
Thank
his character.
goodness.
His character is
He's
great.
evil. What do you want from evil?
Like I
Do
actually
you know the
really-
definition of the word, James?
No, I genuinely think that he's a great character, and I think if him and Great O'Khan,
My
like,
sister, Secret Hills, and
No,
Evil Life.
I mean maybe a little bit because I do have the hots for show. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, I just think that
Okay.
like I kind of wouldn't mind like a feud between Great O'Khan and like Evil, and it's like a battle of egos because that's what I can see from both of
You
those two
leave
characters.
Greater Khan out of that conversation.
Hey, James,
You don't.
I love the Great O'Khan, okay? But what I'm saying is,
love him.
I
Good
love
versus evil.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It would be a dream match. Great O'Khan versus Evil. Give it to me at WK19. Give it to me.
Finally, someone understands. He's a necessary evil.
You've waited all episode to say that. Right, predictions. Monty
Not really.
and James went faces. Jackson and Gina went House of Torture. So it means Gina and Jackson on 2. Monty and James
Choice.
on 1. Great. Never
Okay,
open
so
weight
did-
title. What?
You said you're on 1, yeah, and I'm on 2, yeah. Just needed to get that clear.
Oh, it's gonna be a long fucking year with you lot, isn't it? Let's move on. Never open weight title. Tama Tonga versus Shingo. Tama dropped Shingo with Bloody Sunday, but Shingo kicked out at 1. Tama followed up with a lariat for attempting a DST. Shingo escaped, but forearm. Tama attempted another gun stun, but Shingo hit one of his own. He then hit a pumping bomber and made in Japan, but Tama somehow kicked out. Shingo unloaded on Tama, dropping him with strikes for attempting the last dragon. Tama freed himself, hit a Styles Clash. He tried to close, landed another gun stun, but Shingo kicked out. Finally, Tama hit the DST, winning the match, and Tama Tonga is a 4-time never open weight champion now. Monty, what are your thoughts on this? Because as I mentioned, Shingo thought he was going to be successful, but I mean, this started at a great pace and it didn't really slow down. Looked like they both had a point to prove.
This is what the open weight title was made for. You know, like when Makabe used to be the champion back in the day, it was all about strong style, like just straight up wars. 15-minute, just beat the hell out of each other. That's the reason why I thought Shingo was a perfect champion, because his style fits the belt so well. It's the reason why Ishii is probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, open weight champion. Goto was a great champion. Like I said, Makabe, all those guys who were physical and able to just go out there and have brawls, and just not just brawls, but like great wrestling. But it don't have to be that long because they're going at a crazy pace, and that's what this was, like you mentioned. 13 minutes of just absolute brilliance. Tama, I love Tama. I always have. He proved something to me. The internet hates Tama for some reason. Some people don't think Tama could hang in New Japan. I think anyone who don't like Tama's style should watch this match with Shingo. I know Shingo is incredible. I would be the first to tell you that Shingo can wrestle a broom, and I would watch him snap that broom in half for 15 minutes because I love Shingo that much. But Tama really showed me something in this one, man. He was right along with his dance partner in Shingo in this one, and it made me, as much as I don't agree with it, and then what Tama said after the match in his press conference made me disagree with it even more. But as much as I didn't disagree with the decision to let Tama win this one, because Shingo had literally just won the belt, like we mentioned, I think at the beginning of November. I wanted Shingo to run with it a little bit. This was still damn good. It was so good that I didn't even care anymore that I wanted Shingo to win. Tama really showed what he could do, and it's a damn shame, man. It's a damn shame that he's leaving, bro.
Yeah. Well, that was the news in the press conference afterwards. Tama Tonga saying that he is leaving New Japan.
Going back to his family.
Yeah, so that would be, middle of February that he'll be back looking for work in the States. I mean, Gina,
look out for Impact, man. He lives in Florida. Look out for Impact.
You reckon that? I mean, I was saying, we were talking about it. Could you?
It's my theory.
We'll be interested
Just
to
a
see
theory.
where it goes. Gina, what about you? What were your thoughts on this? And Tamara as well. Do you think he can find play? Because he's must be early 40s now as well, so there's still potential.
Oh yeah, I was super disappointed because I didn't get the win on this one. I didn't go with Tama Tonga. I went with Shingo as well. I feel the same towards Shingo like Monty. I really like him. There's just something about him that I connect with, and I just can't help but be in awe every time I see him. So I was like, nah, Shingo's got this in the bag. But yeah, I'm actually happy for Tama Tonga, and I really like him. I don't know why he gets shit online either, because I actually really like him, and I think he should continue to be pushed. So I'm not mad at him winning this. I'm more mad just on losing the point, but that's about it. So it was a good match for me. And again, I feel like every match that I see Tama Tonga have, I feel like I can feel his dedication to that match. So yeah, I don't see what people's problems with him are.
Well, it's weird because I remember us being at the Clash as well. When Solo showed up, we thought it might have been Tama Tonga. So we don't know. You know, when the door opens. I mean, Jaxie, what are your thoughts on the match and the future of Tama?
I mean, again, as soon as I did watch sort of the media scrum and heard this from Tama, I legit did go back to thinking about Clash at the Castle and thinking about the fact that at first, I'm pretty sure it was you, James, that first suggested, is that Tama Tonga? Before we realised it was Solo. So it really wouldn't surprise me if we're going to get like an additional member of the bloodline. That being said, I think that if he did go to Impact, he would probably actually help elevate it the way that both Trinity and Mickie James have been doing, as well as other wrestlers. But I'm just thinking about wrestlers that recent wrestlers that have moved from big promotions to Impact. So that's why I brought those ones up. Again, though, I have to agree with Monty. I really liked this match. This match was so good. I think this is one of Tama Tonga's best matches in terms of showcasing what it is he could still do, especially at his age. Shingo is exactly the same. I found it difficult to really think who was going to win this match, but the overall outcome, I feel like there wasn't just like this match wasn't like, even-sided. This match wasn't one-sided. Sorry, it was just pretty even. You had like Tama Tonga right on, sort of the attack straight from the get-go, but it wasn't like Shingo was just lying there and taking beating after beating. He was also just giving his all just back, and you could tell that both these men really wanted to win this match. So there is slight disappointment because, in my opinion, even though again I went with Tama Tonga for the win, there was disappointment that came with, well, why are you putting the belt on Tama Tonga if he's openly admitting he's leaving? You should have left it on Shingo and had Kage have a greater run, especially as Monty. When did you say he got the belt? In November.
Yeah, he just won it. That was his first defense, November.
Right, so that wasn't even like a long defense for him. Like you could actually had him run with that belt so much longer, especially with the news of Tama Tonga leaving. If Tama Tonga hadn't announced that he was leaving, I wouldn't have an issue here, but I think it was everything after the match in the media scrum that really just kind of soured on me for this match. It soured the match because I felt like this match was so good and both men put in their all to this match, this dedication, and I get why from Tama Tonga's point of view, but why? But the decision behind it makes no sense to me because whatever title defense Tama Tonga is going to do, we know he's losing. So why didn't you just keep it on Shingo?
He's fighting evil tomorrow, by the way, James.
Yes, we're getting evil, getting the title belt. Watch, it's gonna be a short for Tama Tonga. Evil gonna come take this. Watch, James. This is House of Torture's year.
Right, so scores. Monty, what would you give it out of 5?
This is 4.25, man. I love this, man. This is really good and possibly higher, but again, a little bit of the other stuff. Me not understanding why they did this, probably why I would take something away from it. But yeah, this is really good.
Gina?
Yeah, I'll give this a 4.25 as well. I honestly thought Shingo was going to get it, and I was truly surprised to see him lose it. And I think that adds to the fun factor of the match, at the fact that like you just really didn't see this coming. So I gave it a 4.25.
Jaxie?
Again, I really liked this match. I enjoyed it a lot. So I actually gave this a 4.5. This was, again, rated before the media scrum. I think if I saw what was happening with the media, what the decision time I came to in the end, I think I actually would have scored this lower. But originally I went with 4.5. So I'm just going to stick with it.
No, I went 4.5 as well. Predictions, we all went Shingo apart from Jaxie. So it means that I am on 1, the Deity is on 1, Gina on 2, Jaxie on 3. I've never seen a swing like that.
Yeah.
Never, ever, 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 ever.
This is a record, just kind of going from the bottom to the top. Let's see how we go, though. I'm not jinxing it, touch wood. Let's see how we go here from here on out, because you just never know.
Well, in between matches, the Nemeth brothers walked to the VIP section while on camera, sending me to watch the tag team title match. What this appearance means, well, we're not quite sure yet. The IWGP Strong Openweight Tag Team Championship both on the line. Grizz Destiny, Phantasmo and Hikuleo versus Bishmon. Great entrance from the champions, we should say. Bishmon gained an early lead by double teaming ELP. He attempted to do the same to Hikuleo, but his strength proved too much. Hikuleo furthered this lead for quite some time. A miss from ELP allowed Bishmon another opportunity. After a prolonged offensive sequence, Bishmon hit ELP with Shota, forcing Hikuleo to break up the pin. ELP then used head scissors to throw Bishmon into each other, buying him some time. He dropped Gutter with a super kick. Hikuleo then landed a choke slam, leaving ELP free to land a super Thunderkiss 86, but got kicked out. ELP then hit Gutter with a CR3 as Hikuleo climbed to the top rope. He hit Gutter with a splash and pinned him. The GOD now controls both tag team titles in New Japan. Gina, what did you think of this?
The tag titles match, not the junior heavyweight one.
No, the main one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, the match was a good match. This is the
ELP.
That's it. I was going to say ELP and Hikuleo, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And they won the titles. Yeah, no, this match was actually really, really good.
Hashi and
Goto.
Yeah.
Goto. Yeah.
What's that tag team name again, Monty? I always forget.
Bishamon.
Is someone fucking listening to me? No, literally.
Did you say that earlier, James? Honestly,
I was 4 times during the match.
They've been referring to them as Bishamon this whole time, but I will say, like I said, this match, I loved it. I feel like I'm slightly biased because I have like a love for Goto and Yoshihashi. So it was really hard going into this match because I really like where Hikuleo and El Phantasmo are going at the moment as well. So it was really hard to kind of like chant for like each team because I kind of wanted both teams to win. It was such a good match, and I think that they had some great spots. El Phantasmo, he just continues to wow me when he wrestles, you know, and I'm liking him so much more as with each match that I watch. I think that him and Hikuleo have a really good tag team sort of relationship as well. They work well with each other, they trust each other, and I think if Yoshihashi and Goto are gonna lose their belts, I think it was right to give it to ELP and Hikuleo here, just because they look so strong and they look so dominating, so it made sense to give it to them.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, ELP can fill that massive will hole at some points in time. Definitely. As well.
I definitely think he has personality to, like, you know, definitely pull it off, and I think he's good on the mics as well. So I think like ELP needs to just give him his paycheck, guys. Give him his paycheck.
And it's weird as well. We talk about young lions, but I mean, Jaxie, this is Hikuleo's first match on the main card at Wrestle Kingdom, which makes you think like he's not that far ahead of the others.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think they pointed that out. The commentators, they pointed that out, that this is Hikuleo's like sort of first main sort of spot at that point. And I gotta admit, I hadn't seen sort of the tag leaks, so I hadn't realized until just before sort of like Wrestle Kingdom started, that they were the tag champions. So for me, I was very much like, ooh, Hikuleo is now in the spotlight at this point. What are we going to see from him? How are we going to see, like, I've not seen ELP and Hikuleo team up to a point where I think that they would be good enough to take the belts off of someone like Bishamon, who have this, long year standing, camaraderie. If anything, if you'd have told me that, like, Tama Tonga and Hikuleo were in this match, I would have believed that they would have taken it more. So seeing the interactions between both Hikuleo and ELP, I genuinely was like, I'm intrigued. I love seeing these two together. I think they look great together. ELP, ever since he's kind of become a face, thanks to sort of Bullet Club, like really turning on him, this has really worked in his favor, and you can really see how much the crowd are really into him now. And I remember, this time last year, him being still, fully invested with the Bullet Club, and just the amount of boos and dislikes he would get, so it's a real change for ELP. I'm excited to see what this year does, not only for him as a singles wrestler, but see what this does for him as a tag team champion right now. So yeah, really enjoyed this match in the end. Ultimately, having Bishamon versus these two, that you couldn't have had a greater sort of tag match between four great talents,
Yeah, without a doubt. And the interesting thing as well, Monty, was under 10 minutes. But I don't know if there was maybe like a timing issue, if this was always meant to be like that.
I think it was meant to be shorter, definitely shorter, especially when you think about the fact that they went 45 minutes in the final. But I'm pretty sure on a 10-match card, when you're trying to make sure the three-way gets its time, you want Despy and Hiromu to get their time, you want the main event to get the time. So I'm pretty sure something had to be sacrificed. So probably a match like this, probably a match like the two tag matches, as a matter of fact, on the card. It probably makes sense for both of those tag matches to kind of get, but well, it was three, so not counting the opener, but the other two tag matches kind of got punished, if you really want to think about it, when it comes to time. So that's probably what happened, because they still had big time matches that they had to get done. But this is really, really good when you think about what they were able to do with that time, and the fact that honestly, like I said, Bishamon had been so dominant that the fact that it took 45 minutes for them to finish, basically just ELP, because like I said, Hikuleo was took out for the last part of that match. The fact that it came to an end the way it did makes perfect sense, because they were right there to beating them in tag league. So giving them a rematch and running it back that fast at Wrestle Kingdom, it makes sense for these two guys to be the tag champions. And I think both guys will be not only great stars in general, whether it's in the tag division or just in singles competition. I think the future is bright for both guys in New Japan if they decide to stay. I think that's the thing. I think the only reason why you don't hear Hikuleo's name through in there with the other Three Musketeers and Yu Moore and some of those other young future guys is because Hikuleo, before he ever debuted, was pursued by WWE and was like almost gone. So I don't necessarily know how confident New Japan is that they'll keep Hikuleo around for years to come. That might be why you don't think of him as in the same class, but he totally is in the same vein as the Three Musketeers and the other young guys who's supposed to be the future of New Japan. So if he chooses to be, he will be the future of New Japan. He'll be a monster in Japan. But he also will be great in WWE if he chooses to. I think Hikuleo can have the wrestling world in the palm of his hand, depending on whatever he decides. And ELP, like I said, I don't even want to waste any more words. He's absolutely one of the best in the world, one of the most underrated. And I think this year he will no longer be underrated. I think if the New Japan know what they're doing, he is a great selection, right behind Zach. As a matter of fact, I will push him right next to Zach in that, like you said, filling that hole that Will is going to leave in the foreigner spot.
Yeah, I think without doubt. Right, so scores then. Gina, what would you score this out of 5?
I gave it a 4.
Jaxie?
Yep, same.
Monty?
Yeah, I gave it 4. Didn't have time to go into that 5-star gear that they hit at the end of Tag League.
Yeah, I gave it 4 as well. And this ain't even funny. I went Bisherman. Rest went for new champions, so I'm on 1. Monty on 2.
James, do you just want to end it here?
It's not. It's not. Look, I won last year. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't need to win this year. All right, like it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, Gene
take
on
a year
3, Jaxie on 4. Yeah, take a year off. I don't want to. Anyway, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, El Desperado versus Hiromu Takahashi. Desperado started the match by diving onto Hiromu as he made his way to the ring. Nice way to start. On the top rope, Hiromu attempted to fling Desperado, but was caught. Desperado now in control, slammed from the top of the mat. Hiromu tried to power up, but Desperado hammered him with strikes to keep him grounded. Hiromu dodged a punch, landed a lariat to regain advantage. Desperado fired back, landing the Pinche Loco for a near fall. Desperado attempted it again, but Hiromu reversed into his unnamed roll. Desperado kicked out and landed another Pinche Loco. It's John for the pin. Desperado hit Desperado with another one. Desperado hit Hiromu with one. This time it was enough to win the match. And your new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this matchup?
Sorry, I was talking on mute. This is the Will Ospreay's match.
No, this is Desperado Takahashi.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I mean, to be honest, I really don't know El Desperado as a wrestler that much, but I have to admit, he reminds me, his skill set reminds me of like that of Commander and Ray Fenix. So it was really enjoyable to kind of see what he was going to do, but I also was unsure as to how high flying he would get. So yeah, he definitely surprised me a lot because I kind of thought Takahashi had this in the bag. This match kind of reminded me like slightly of like the Shota Umino tag match in terms of I didn't really understand why it was these two facing off, but then again, I haven't been following a consistent linear storyline to know why it was El Desperado taking on Takahashi. I'm definitely gutted though because if I lost my winning streak here.
Well, I will say these two have faced off many a time. Monty, again, this is just these two guys seem to be around the junior heavyweight division more than most at this moment in time.
They're the top. They are the top of the division by far, really, to be honest. And I think the thing is about Despy can do death matches. He can high fly. But what I love the most about Despy is he is a limb magician, meaning he's gonna try his numero dos that he does, which is like a stretch muffler, but then he grabs both arms and it kind of just he will stretch you completely out. It's funny how he can turn into Zack Sabre Jr. on any given match, and no one brings that out of him more than Hiromu. Hiromu and him have had I think 7 prior encounters to this, and Hiromu mentioned after this match he don't ever want to do this again where they're not the main event because they deserve the focus. And I 100% agree with them. Most of the time when they fight, they're usually the junior heavyweight title, the last match, the main event of the show, and they go out there and they just try to kill each other. It's a long history there between Despy and Hiromu. And they kind of always traded victories. I think a couple years ago at Wrestle Kingdom, Hiromu won. But then the last time they fought, I think Despy got the better of Hiromu. So, Hiromu wanted to get to the defense ring. That's kind of why I selected him. I thought he was going to get to 12, but I think he got stopped short here at 8. And Despy is the guy to do it. If it was anyone, just do it because this is the first time. Usually when a championship is on the line in this series or this rivalry, usually the champion retains. I was kind of going with history there. So I was like, Hiromu usually always retain, or when Despy was the champion, he would retain when he fought Hiromu. But no, this is the first time a title change happened, and fitting that it happened at the biggest show of the year. This was fantastic, man, and I just only wish that that honestly where they were placed, I knew it was big matches coming. So I think how great this was kind of going to be overshadowed. But I've seen these guys do even more damage to each other. And like I said, y'all talk about Dragon Lee being a guy that Hiromu really have a rivalry with, he's had the same type of feud and beef with Despy pretty much since they both started in New Japan from Mexico. They both kind of took different routes on excursion, but Desperado and Hiromu was one of the greatest rivalries in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I wish they got more of a spotlight consistently, so when people worldwide will see that. Matter of fact, that's what I recommend. Look up Hiromu and Despy's matches. Anytime they've ever fought in New Japan, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, and there's also a fantastic documentary as well on New Japan World about Takahashi. Really, really good stuff. So if you want to learn more about him. Anyway, as for the match in itself, so we do out of 5s. So Jaxie, what was your score out of 5 for this one?
I mean, yeah, this was okay for me. So I've given it a 3 3/4.
Monty?
Giving it 4.5. That was my first time ever seeing him do the Pinche Loco, aka fucking crazy 2.0, where he dropped Hiromu right on his bleeping head. Man, I love. They always add a new twist to their matches. So I gave it 4.5. Man, it was another spectacular one. Even though I know they could do better.
Gina?
Yeah, I gave this a 4 1/4. I will say, isn't Hiromu? I can't say his name, Takahashi. Isn't he the one who said something like he wanted to he had a goal to beat 12 defenses with the belt or something, and he didn't get to meet it. He only got to 7 of them or something like that. So
8. He fell short.
Yeah, he fell short of his goal. So I kind of felt really gutted for him, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to go for him, because I was expecting him to kind of get to that 12 defenses that he said that he wanted to do. And I do find myself really invested in him. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just all the eyes when he comes out and I'm just invested in him. Yeah. He just, every time he's on screen, I'm just captivated. So yeah, 4 1/4 for me was good for this match.
He's a star.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I'm going to give it 4.5. But I mean, predictions. This is just a joke. I mean, I was wrong again, but we were all wrong. So at the moment, I am 1 for 7. I don't think I've ever done worse.
James, I'm passing you the tissue box right now. I'm passing you the tissue box.
And you watched the most you ever watched, right?
Yeah, watched the most and got the most from. I'm going to stop watching NXT in New Japan and just do random predictions. That's what I've learned. But everybody's laughing. Deity is in a bit of trouble on 2.
Do you have a child?
Hey, no, don't child me.
Good excuse.
All right? No. I'm not having that. Gina.
Do you have a child? I mean, I just want to know.
Monty.
I just want to know.
You said that. You answered that the same 50 times on the last update. Right, so Gina has 3. Jaxie has 4. We can only say, thank God Jaxie didn't get that right. Am I right? Yes, right.
That me. Yeah.
Up next, Global Heavyweight Championship, David Finlay versus Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley. I mean, Moxley's entrance was cool, but I think Ospreay's entrance was special. I mean,
I love Red Hood, but he did get overshadowed.
I mean, Jaxie, do you want to speak about this? Or, I mean, I don't know who would be better on the subject. Would it be Jaxie or Eugenia? But Ospreay's entrance was just so cool.
Yeah, I got to admit, I'm the one that called this. Even Sis was a little bit like, wait, this isn't it. No, it's not. And I was like, this is literally the theme tune for it. This is Assassin's Creed tune. Okay, I'm telling you straight. I know this. I've played all of them apart from the Mirage. I know my games. Okay, he came out all dressed like, I couldn't tell if it was if he was dressed as the character. What's Evie's brother's name? Twin brother's name?
Yeah, the idiot Jacob Fry or whatever. Yeah, that's who he was. I think it's Jacob or something.
I think it was Jacob because he had the top hat, and
yeah,
that's what
he was the British one.
Yeah. So I think he came out as Jacob, but I mean, he could easily have passed off as one of the brothers, Brotherhood or Unity assassins as well. You know, he just looked incredible. Like if we're gonna try it and do an Assassin's Creed movie and actually base it on the movies, which God I hate, based on the games, which I hope they don't because they ruined it with Michael Fassbender. But if they were to, Will Ospreay, he looked like an assassin. He looked great. Get him in if he can act. I don't know. But yeah, already right from the entrance, I was so excited by this match. It took me a while to just get over the Assassin's Creed theme, to be honest. So I don't know if someone else wants to jump in on this match before we go.
Well, I'll jump in and talk about Michael Fassbender. Apparently, it's like an Evian bottle. Anyway, back to the match. Moxley and Ospreay opened the match by rushing Finlay as they promised to do at yesterday's press conference. They beat him up inside and outside the ring. Moxley turned his attention to Ospreay, hitting Death Rider. Ospreay ate the move and hit Moxley with a hidden blade. Finlay then threw Ospreay to the floor and attempted to pin Mox, but Mox kicked out. Finlay hit him with a Dominator, prompting Ospreay to break up the pin with another hidden blade, this time to Finlay. Once the men returned to the feet, they took turns trading strikes. Moxley and Ospreay focused on Finlay again. When Finlay looked to be out, Gabe Kidd and Alex Coughlin, the Bullet Club War Dogs, hit the ring, attacking Moxley and Ospreay. They managed to fight back, driving both War Dogs through tables with a crazy dive. Back in the ring, Moxley dropped Finlay with a pair of Death Riders before eating two hidden blades. Ospreay hit Moxley with Stormbreaker, but Finlay stopped the pin. Finlay landed Oblivion, a curb stomp, and a new variant of the previous finish for pinning Ospreay to win the match. David Finlay is the first IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. And after the match, Finlay taunted Nick Nemeth. Finlay pushed Nemeth, leading to a scuffle between the two, the former Dolph Ziggler, then went after Finlay. And that's another thing about Japan. We've just had an awesome match, and now you set the stage for what is to come. Gina, what did you think of this match? Because I thought this was awesome.
Yeah, this match kind of feels like a bit like a dream match that I didn't realize I wanted to happen until it happened. It was just brilliant. It was, chaos start to end. I did see a little clip about Ospreay and Moxley, agreeing to take Finlay out and get him out their way. And that was just brilliant because it's something I would expect them to do as well, like just gang up on Finlay and just get him out of the bloody way, and then those two can fight it out themselves, But it did feel like that. It felt like when two was in the ring, one of them got thrown out. So it's like, no, us two are fighting now. You can sit out and just calm down. It was a great match. And I honestly, I want to say I didn't know who was going to win it. I had a slight feeling it would be Finlay, but that's just because of what we know is coming up in the future for Ospreay, and the fact that he is leaving. So for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer on who would win, but I still think that it did well. And the whole Nemeth thing that happened after, it just made me laugh. Can we all just address the elephant in the room and all agree that Nick Nemeth's mum made him bring his younger brother with him to work, please?
So for real,
no.
Was he doing that? Like, it literally felt really awkward to seeing him like behind, and it's mainly because not even the commentators really like touched upon the fact that he was here too, and he is a valid wrestler. So it really just felt like he was tag along. I felt really bad for him because being an older sibling, I actually said to my sister, "Oh my gosh, that's our youngest sibling. You will remember her. She's been featured on the show." That was definitely the amount of times we would go out. The amount of times we would go out with our friends, and our mum would be like, "No, you're not going out unless you take Shay with you." And it was just like, and because there were two of us, it was even worse because we would just run off in different directions and leave her. So, sorry, Shay.
It's the way. Going back to this, but it's the way we didn't have Nick on the corner. So, like, when it happened, he had to move out of his way, like, just put his head down and move. Like, there was no attention to him It's so bad, I've actually forgotten his name. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's Nick Nemeth, but now I've completely forgotten him.
Yeah.
I know he used to wrestle on AEW.
Is it Ryan?
Didn't he? Like, yeah.
Is it Ryan Nemeth?
Brian? I don't know. Like, it could be
Ryan,
anything.
Ryan.
Could you not?
Ryan.
It's Ryan. It's Ryan. It's Ryan.
Ryan. It was something with a YN.
It was an it's an iron. Yeah.
But even with the shenanigans, the match is fun.
Yeah, exactly. It really did. I think the part that I would like to actually like bring up within the match, I think, was ultimately this sort of this was all about David Finlay getting over as the leader of the Bullet Club for me. Or this is how I took this match really. And it really did kind of solidify that. Yeah, he's a bastard. You know, the likes of John Moxley and Will Ospreay don't even fucking like this guy. You know, so they were trying to get that across, and that is exactly what they managed to do. Like every time Mox and Ospreay were in the ring and they're just getting at it, and then Finlay would come in and you're just like, oh, fuck off, Finlay. Like, what are you doing here? Get away. You know, this is exactly what they wanted from the audience. They wanted us to be like, stop getting in the way. The original match we wanted Ospreay versus Mox. Like, why are we getting you involved in this? And this is exactly the heat that they wanted to put on Finlay in order to actually carry on the legacy of the Bullet Club. So I wasn't surprised by the outcome of this match, but I also really enjoyed this match. I thought all three men did brilliantly in this. And yeah, you just can't help but see how popular Mox still is in New Japan. Even when he's, you know, spending months away over in AEW, and he'll come back for this pay-per-view match and then look at the pop he gets again. It's just incredible.
Well, one of the things we mentioned Moxley in the press conference afterwards as well, and he was quite open about it. He said one of the weird things is that he sat in a bar once with Fit Finlay. You know, Fit said, oh, my kid wants to be a wrestler, and Mox said, all right, you're going to send him to WWE? He goes, no, I'm going to send him to Japan to kind of learn. And Moxie said it's wild thinking that he had that conversation, and now he's actually wrestling the guy's son, you know, in Japan. So it's weird how it comes around. And again, Finlay looked...
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool to know that.
Well, that's what I say. Moxley was so fucking open afterwards as well, and like saying how important Japan is to him, and he's been 100% open, you know. And like we said, there's so many good things for this match. Firstly, with Finlay, again, he needed to change this trash panda. That wasn't going to work, Monty, was it, as a finisher, to be fair? But he did buck the trend of people with white gear losing. So at least he had that with him. Alex Coughlin just sitting in a table as well. And it wouldn't be a podcast without me taking a shot. So here we go. Monty, I'll tell you this as well. Japan truly loved Will Ospreay, didn't they? You know, you can see. So I'm just waiting for Tony to make him just another wrestler.
If they know what's good for him, he should be right. He should be right next to Swerve, whoever in the main title picture. Hopefully, he don't get bogged down with too much Don Callis family stuff.
Then again, you could say about Jay right now as well, you know. And this is the worry that I've got, is that we're going to have both Jay White and Will Ospreay on AEW content and not being utilized at the way that they were in New Japan. That made them feel like a big deal. This is the worry, you know. I want to have faith. In an ideal world for me, I want to have faith in Tony and believe that we could potentially get Bullet Club versus United Empire come all in, you know, this year. That would be awesome. But that would only ever work if you really built up Jay White and the Bullet Club, if you really built up United Empire to the point where you first get the first initial crossover of Will Ospreay bringing United Empire over for a Forbidden Door, you know, and that could actually open the door to sort of like maybe a big, you know, Bullet Club versus United Empire that we'd never seen thought possible to be in something like Wembley, you know, actually take place there. But that's me wishful hoping. So, you know, let's not put too much on that.
The thing is with AEW is only one spot, so somebody's gonna take a backseat. It's just the end of the day, it's just how it works when you have these loaded talent rosters. So again, it's just all about how Tony decides to go about doing things. How are people going to be only on collisions? Are some people only going to show up sparingly? Like, he has a lot of talent to play around with, and we've seen already what he's done with the tons of talent that they already have. So if somebody's going to be on the sideline, you just hope it's not one of your favorites. That's just kind of how it goes in that regard. But Ospreay is special. You're 100% right. They watch Ospreay grow up in front of them, James. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, not only physically from a super junior to the greatest heavyweight, pretty much, but he wasn't the normal number one foreigner. When he came in, he was like Okada's protege / the junior heavyweight guy who was a foreigner, who was number one in that regard. He put on great performances, but he wasn't the guy. And then he finally split off, kind of figured out his own thing. Kenny left. That helped. We saw how that feud when him and Kenny kind of played out, but that was very real. When Kenny left, he left New Japan in Jay White in Ospreay's hands, and it's kind of ironic that they followed him along to AEW when you really think about it. But yeah, man, Ospreay was special in New Japan, and I think even what he did on his way out, and then what he did here for Finlay, like you mentioned, that was my favorite part of this match. Is that even as they obviously read what some of the internet was saying and what some people thought, like, why is Finlay here? Because they made sure to make Finlay feel like he belonged, and he definitely looked like $1 million here. It was one of, if not his best performance, and Ospreay always bring out the best in Finlay. I think the best G1 or New Japan Cup performance Finlay had before he ever turned and started leading Bullet Club. It was with Will Ospreay. So I'm not really surprised that the chemistry kind of leaked into this, but everything was just smooth, perfect. And I love, like you mentioned, not only changing the name to Oblivion, but did you see how he did the last Oblivion?
Yeah.
Kind of turned it into like a go to sleep type of deal. Like, it was awesome. It was an awesome, something he can do every now and then to make it even more brutal. I love when guys do that, kind of like I mentioned with Pinche Loco. So yeah, man, this was really great stuff. 5 stars across the board for me. Fantastic stuff. Everyone looked like a star, and it had great moments, great action. Can't ask for more from this.
No, right down. And like I said, Japan reminds me of like ECW, where you go into the next feud kind of right after the match. Like, they've already set. Look, yeah, he might be going, but we've got this coming up, and again, it's brilliant because you get 2-in-1 basically. I'm
ready for Nick to show people what he can do too, wrestling wise, and depending on how much he does in New Japan, because WWE, as great as I know how great Nick is. A lot of people should remember how great he is. WWE, he spent so much time there. A lot of people may not remember just how good he is. So hopefully, a run in Impact, a run in New Japan can do wonders for people to realize, no, Nick is still really that good.
Yeah, without doubt. Gina, what would you score it out of 5?
Is this the overall show or the match?
The match.
This is the triple threat match between Jay.
Sorry, I've given my score for this one already. I actually gave this one 4 3/4. I was just invested, and it was the biggest match for me that I knew of on the match card, so I gave it 4 3/4.
Jaxie?
I mean, I loved this match. I gave it a 5.
Yeah, I gave it 4 3/4. Predictions, we all went Finn. So I got a point. Yes, get in there. I'm on 2. Monty on 3. Junior on 4. Jaxie on 5. Up next, Kazuchika Okada versus Bryan Danielson. Jaxie, what kind of black magic fuckery was that on Okada's jacket? Because you've had answers before in the past.
Oh, God, I lost my shit.
Rang Hogwarts.
No, I lost my shit watching this. Like, Okada just made my day. He literally just went to Hogwarts. He graduated from Gryffindor. He got his robe, and he was just getting initiated. This is just absolutely brilliant. I loved it. It was a paint by numbers, color by numbers type moment. It reminded me of I don't think it was just Big E. I think it was New Day's paint by numbers color wrestling gear. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember because they were returning from injury. There was 2 of them, and they were waiting for
one of them to return. Yeah, Kofi.
They get more and more every week.
Yeah, and it was just so creative. So to like, go from something like Will Ospreay doing a full-on gaming entrance, kind of similar to last year's Kenny Omega doing, Final Fantasy VII entrance of last year, and then we get, Okada doing this with his jacket, and we've seen him, have these coats that like show one color on camera and then a different color from a different lens, so to speak, I think. So we've seen him do some sort of eye playing with his jackets before, but this eye play with the pure white jacket, and then coming out and then getting it colored in, it was just brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a bit of fun, and I mean, it's Daddy Okada. What do you expect? Of course I'm gonna love this.
Yeah, and that was before the bell even rang. So the opening tie-up saw Okada trying to bait Danielson into striking. Instead, Danielson took Okada to the mat and began going for Okada's arm. They brawled outside for a bit, and Okada attempted a running dropkick, but Danielson cut him off with a leaping knee strike. He then placed Okada against the barricade, slamming his arm into the metal multiple times. Back in the ring, Danielson continued his focus attack, brutalising Okada's Rainmaker arm. Okada did hit a tombstone on the apron to get back into the match. He ripped off Danielson's patch and landed an elbow drop from the top rope, but this further injured the arm of Okada. He then tried for the Rainmaker, but the arm couldn't do it. Danielson followed up with a kick and a signature elbow strikes. After hitting slew of elbows, Okada powered up, but Danielson answered with a Bisaki knee and a label lock. Danielson transitioned into the hold he used to submit Okada at Forbidden Door, and the crowd were going nuts at this point, but Okada managed to get the ropes. Danielson hit vicious stomps, but Okada fired back with a Southern Rainmaker, but couldn't capitalise. And then the closing exchange was just fantastic. Danielson hit one knee, but didn't go for the cover. Instead, opting for another. Danielson missed, leaving Okada an open opportunity after dropping Danielson. And Okada landed another Rainmaker and got the win. After the match, both men showed respect for one another in what was a classic matchup. So, Jaxie, I'll come back to you then. Your man Okada delivered on his entrance and delivered in the match.
I mean, I've talked about the entrance, so I'm kind of not going to kind of touch too much more on that. But this was just such a great match. You go back and you watch their match at Forbidden Door, and you just thought that it was a great showcase between the two, and it was almost kind of like Okada and Danielson got together and was like, how can we make this even better? How can we actually put more stakes on the line and make it feel like this is the first time again that people are watching us in the ring, And for a lot of people in Japan, watching those two wrestle might have been the first time. They might not necessarily have been able to have seen their previous match on Forbidden Door. But this, to me, just having seen their match at Forbidden Door, this to me just still felt like a brand new match, a brand new duo getting in the ring and actually showcasing what they could do, but also not staying down. Like, this was the perfect showcase for that. Neither of them wanted to give up the win on this match, neither of them. And it was just so intense. It really made you think, knowing that Okada had lost to Danielson before, like, is this going to be another lose again? But yeah, I enjoyed this match from beginning to end. I thought the ending was just perfect. I think them topping it off with the showcase of respect, both of them on their knees and just bowing to each other. It was just such a surreal moment watching that. And I just, I felt like that was a vulnerable moment to watch between the two of them after showing such great respect after two great matches, two really high caliber matches between two great wrestlers. This really was the cherry on top of the cake when it comes to sort of like the overall Wrestle Kingdom match card, and it had every right to be in the main event, in my opinion.
Really, really good stuff, Gina, I mean, what were your thoughts on this? We talk about Forbidden Door. I think this match was a step up, and it almost felt weird, like home and away games, like we get in sport, and we've had, Danielson was at home and then he went away, and we see how good Okada is, at the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to describe it. It's like having a match at home and having a match away. You know, you have your home court advantage when you're at home, whereas when you're away, you're kind of more out of your depth. And that's truly what kind of resonated in this match. I did think to myself, are they going to be able to overcome the Forbidden Door match, because that match was just brilliant as well. But they proved to us that they can, you know, just put on another banger, if not even better than the first one, or the second. And this match, it just went hard, and they both were just dedicated. Both of them really wanted that win, and you could tell. And again, just the chemistry between Okada and Danielson is just enough to like create magic in the ring, and that's literally what they did. That's how I would describe this match: magic in the ring.
Yeah, it really, really was. I mean, Monty, we've talked about it, and like I said, Danielson was ready made for this occasion. He'd been wanting to wrestle, you know, in Japan out of Wrestle Kingdom, and he's ready made. But Okada at this stage is God. You know, I've heard stories of matches against Omega and Tanahashi and stuff, but I've actually experienced it now against Danielson, you know.
Yeah, man. It's just he's on another. He's a prodigy. He's just been that guy since he re-debuted in 2012, and it's crazy to me the work rate that Okada has always had, and just seemingly he's just gotten even better. You know, as someone who's like a final boss. Him and Danielson don't other than the other occasions, the few occasions that you guys have seen televised. It isn't like he's fought Danielson a lot over the years. This is just two guys who know what the hell they're doing and just make it look easy. And I think that's the thing about Okada, like something as simple as this drop kick or the elbow drop or the fluid move. He doesn't do anything insane, but he makes it all look so easy and effortless that I think sometimes I who watched plenty of Okada matches over the years, I've taken it for granted. And I think when you see him in the ring with somebody that I think it has everyone's respect in the ring, in Danielson, you just see how fluid and how great everything is, and the story. This is what strong style wrestling is all about. Danielson always had a lot of strong, even when he was wrestling in WWE. You know, Danielson's one of the first guys, besides maybe a Punk, who really was bringing Japanese style to WWE with the kicks he used to use and the many submission holds. And you know, I think commentary did a great job of kind of explaining what strong style is all about. He didn't want to break Okada's arm because he hated Okada. He wanted to break his arm because, you know, adversity is what strong style is all about. You know, you persevering through adversity, fighting through a lot of pain. And I think that element, that underlying element that was added to this match with the brutality that Danielson brought, and this wasn't even one of those 40-minute type of matches that I've seen Okada do. This was really concise, and I think 100% it was better than Forbidden Door, and it was really, really good. It was just honestly, these are two of the best doing what they do. I almost again had to stop myself from just saying, well, what the hell did I expect? Like, no, you got to sit back and just enjoy it and not try to take it for granted, because they just two of the best in the world. And I think a match like this just showed it. And to have Danielson in the ring doing the yes chants and just getting that adulation from the fans in Japan, I know you could just tell from the look on his eyes during the match how, the good eye, you could just tell that he really, really, this was special to him, you know? Right, the good eye. Okada did take his eye patch off, so you finally got a chance to see how it looks. But yeah, man, you can tell how much this meant to him, and I think Okada being who he is and doing this in the Tokyo Dome, you know, it was special. It was just special all around, and them showing respect to each other. You can't ask for much more, because, you know, I don't think you can have a conversation about the five best, or if you're talking about these past decades, you damn sure can't talk about the best wrestlers of the past 10, 15 years without mentioning the American Dragon and Kazuchika Okada.
Yeah. There's one thing about Danielson as well, is that, you know, even though he wasn't on anybody's list the rest of the year, he probably had like 3 or 4 match of the years, you know, last year candidates.
Yeah. A lot of that was injury,
year,
probably,
you know?
just because he went away.
Even, like you said, even with injury, with WrestleMania matches, you like, you know, the triple threat with Roman and Edge as well, you know, just always delivers on the bigger stage. And I think we all agree 5 stars there. I don't think there's any doubt. Don't think I need to go round and ask.
I'll give it a 4
Yeah,
point.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Yeah, no, you're lying.
Well, predictions all went Okada, so it means I'm on 3, Monty on 4, Gina on 5, Jaxie on 6, as we head to the main event, IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Tetsuya Naito versus Sanada. We see Naito gaining control on the mat early, tries to send Sanada to the floor. Sanada reverses Naito to the floor, doing his own version of Naito taunt. Naito, knowing one Destino wouldn't be enough, tried for a second, but Sanada reversed into a TKO. Sanada tried for a moonsault after kind of missing the first one, but it landed it. Naito kicked out anyway and interrupted Sanada's follow-up with a spine buster. Sanada tried hoisting Naito up, but he was dropped again. Naito did hit Destino once, but again was forced to try for another. This time Sanada slipped free, making the move partially land. After Sanada kicked out, he hit Naito with a sudden dead fall, forcing a match reset. Sanada hit Destino of his own, but Naito stuffed the dead fall. He then nailed the DDT. Sanada fired back briefly, but could not hold on to any lead. Naito's own dead fall left Naito uncontested into another Destino. This time, it proved enough to pin Sanada and win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. After the match, Naito grabbed the microphone. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Monty, what were your thoughts on the main event and what happened afterwards as well to kind of make your dreams come true?
Yeah, man, the match itself, this is what I've been waiting for, man. This is a story that I've been waiting to finally happen. Everyone talks about Cody Rhodes and people are complaining, oh man, why he couldn't finish the story then. Well, think about trying to finish a story for 7 years. Yeah, that's pretty much what Naito has been trying to do. And then the personal story between Sanada and Naito is 18 years worth of a story. Like I said, you have a guy who said in his tryouts for New Japan that nothing means more to him than being in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that was Naito. And Sanada, who was a kid at the time, quiet as he still is now to this day, did not make it through that tryout because they were both trying out at the same time. But Naito did. He was a prodigy. He was denied at the beginning. Again, the story of Naito is just one of the greatest stories ever. And I for someone who's been here, basically, a little bit after that, his denial, basically, of them moving his main event that he earned from winning the G1, they chose to watch Shinsuke Nakamura and Tanahashi, and so be it. But Naito finally got to his spot after many, many injuries, after falling short against Okada in 2018. Here he is finally being able to pull off the victory against someone who, if not his best friend in the business, definitely his biggest rival from the beginning in Sanada. And this was just really good stuff. You heard those people. If you don't believe me, or if you weren't into it because it was a long show or whatever the problem was, go back and listen to those people in the Tokyo Dome and tell me that they didn't believe and they didn't want Naito to finish that story and finally be able to become world champion in the main event. I think that's what made this so special to me also, because I felt like I was in that building with them and all the people who were screaming and crying and going absolutely insane for Naito. And when he picked up the mic after the match and was seeming like he was going to finally start off his roll call, of course, Evil shows up and attacks his. By the way, Evil was trained by the same guy who trained Naito, Animo Hamaguchi. They both was also in the same dojo. So again, as much as this was evil
tonight, I swear.
You're gonna hate the next few podcasts. I'm telling you, you're gonna get more evil. So you might want to stop watching New Japan because you're probably about to get more evil instead of less. But anyway, besides that, like I said, him and Naito have a long history. So as much as this was Evil being the a-hole that he is, this was also in his own way him wanting to be a part of the roll call in his own special way, and whether he wants to admit it or not, he never will because he's evil. But Sanada coming back and Shining Wizarding his former partner someone he
Oh
used
my
to
God,
travel up and down the road.
that was such a badass moment. Like he came out of nowhere in terms of the camera angle. Like watching it from the TV, you just did not see him come from nowhere. So when it happened, you're just like, oh my God. That was awesome. That was an awesome moment for Sonata.
Yeah, and then the people making Sonata cry. His whole gimmick was the cold skull. He shows no emotion. That's just who he is. He's always been quiet. He does his business and he get out. The most you get out of him is a flick of the ear so he can hear the people chant for him. Sonata cried, bawling as they chanted Sonata's name, and Naito told him Gracias, Sonata, which again was in his own way, including him in the roll call of LIJ, which again was just special. And finally being able to say those names, to list off the members, include himself, say no Sostros, Los Nguba, Nable, Day, Ha, Pong. Finally to do it in front of all those people with everyone singing along. I was in tears. I screamed it with him. This was special to me, man, and it always will be. He's my favorite wrestler in the world, and to finally watch him be on top, and now knowing what I know now going forward, when he will actually probably finally get a run with this belt instead of losing it so fast like he has in the past or getting injured. Hopefully, please, Lord willing, he stays healthy. Yeah, man, this is special stuff for everyone who loves LIJ and loves Tetsuya Naito.
Well, I think Monty said it best there, really. You know, like I said, I don't think I've heard the crowd so loud. I don't know about everybody else, but like literally, he was the most over babyface. You know, like, and talk about Sonata crying, literally blood, sweat, and tears. You know, Jaxie, what are your thoughts and what would you score the main event out of 5?
I mean, yeah, I don't really know if I can top the thought that like Monty sort of described. Again,
I completed it.
Yeah, I don't. He really did. He sums the match up well and everything. This match was just awesome. To be honest, I don't think I think I've rarely seen Sonata and Naito in the same ring as one another, even when it comes into tag matches. Like with how much New Japan, like I've really watched, you know, like it really has been over the past year or so that I've really kind of gotten into it more. Watching these two against each other, it was just like you could just tell there was a familiarity and so much trust within one another that they just made this match great. They just ran with it. They trusted one another, and in turn trusted the audience to just sit there and watch them like finish telling this story. That, by the way, the commentators really did actually an amazing job at talking about the history between these two, the history of Naito, and you know, sort of like the bad luck he's had whenever he has been champion. You know, so like overall, like Monty described in a much greater way than I can, this was a great way to sort of like finish telling that story for Naito. And I was so pleased to see him get the 1, 2, 3. But that shining moment really came in with Sonata. Like that was just awesome for me.
What would you score out of 5?
That's getting a 5-2 from me.
5 from you. Gina, what's your score?
Yeah, I gave this one a 5 as well. I didn't really see any other fitting score for it other than 5.
Do I need to ask you, Monty? Or
Yeah, you know this was perfect, man. This was perfect. 5 stars. Sonata is finally validated. I can't wait for him to come back because now he has a story to tell to where he can finally be the guy. You know, so they got a lot of ways they can go from here. And I'm just, I was over the moon.
Well, predictions. We all went Naito, so final scores. Oh, for fuck's sake. James on 4. Not bad in the end, I suppose. Monty on 5. New Japan deity. Gina on 6. And the winner and the first to take the lead in 2024, it is Jaxie.
Oh my God.
Wins Wrestle Kingdom. Well done.
Oh my gosh, this irony. There is so much irony here. You know, I epically failed to the end of 2023. So to come out um, winning the first sort of pay-per-view for 2024, this was a redemption really needed on my part, you know. I'm glad I stuck with it. I feel like if I had gone a little bit more daring and actually, I feel like I could have gotten a couple more wins. But I was too daring and went with the others. So, oh well, I will take this win.
And I realised if I'd
Proud
answered
sensei,
everything
by the way.
differently, I would have got 7. so I'll just go the opposite ones
Yeah.
next time.
Don't try, James. Just let me have my glory for once,
No,
okay?
I'm
Don't
talking
try.
about me. I'm not about you. Well done, you win. Great, move on. Yeah,
Proud
Monty,
sensei. Proud sensei.
you're
Yeah.
sensei,
Thank
but I
you,
don't think
Sensei.
deity anymore.
Thank you.
I told you months ago that I was a demigod. I haven't watched in 6 months. You don't listen, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, a bit like everybody else when I'm talking on a pod. All right, yeah, no, not a surprise.
Well, you talk so
so-
much.
Well, thank you to my sensei. He taught me well. Arigato.
Am I allowed to talk now, or is it too much? Anyway, all titles changed hands. I do love it when it happens. So overall, then MVP, my MVP of the night was Rocky Romero on commentary. He was fantastic. He was intelligent, put all the talent over, and actually was interesting to listen to. So I really, really enjoyed the job they'd done. Match of the night as well, I will say Okada, Danielson. Jaxie, who's your MVP and what's your match?
My match of the night is going to be Okada and Danielson, I think. And it's really difficult. I'm sorry, I can't choose, so I'm going to go with both Naito and Sonata for MVPs. I just think that they made that main event feel special, even for those who haven't been watching New Japan that long, and it just impacted me. So, yeah, I'll give them both the MVP.
Gina, what about you? Match and MVP?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Okada Danielson for the match, and MVP. I'm actually gonna give to El Phantasmo because he just sticks out to me. Like when I think back on the whole match card, I just think of ELP. So I'm gonna give it to him.
That's a good choice. And Monty?
Nobody's getting any glory from me except Tetsuya Naito. And the match is Tetsuya Naito and Sonata also.
What's your score out of 10? Is that Tetsuya Naito as well?
Yeah, if yeah, exactly. That would be my score. My score is Naito and Sonata. Or just LIJ altogether. But no, my overall grade would be about a 9.5. I thought it was a really good Wrestle Kingdom. I thought one of the strongest, really, if you just think about a match by match basis. Even if I didn't understand the booking decision, to be honest, until I started doing this show, I never gave a damn about who won and who didn't. I was always along for the ride in New Japan, and that's what this felt like when I was just watching it. I really could care less because I love everyone so much, and I just love the style so much. So the only decision that mattered to me was who was walking out as champion, as long as it was Naito. So yeah, man, 9.5 with me. This is a really, really great show.
Gina, what's your score out of 10?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 9. Overall, I just enjoyed the show, and it just made me realize that I really do need to try and find some time to keep up on and in touch with New Japan because so much happens.
Well, don't do that because it'll be worse predictions. I mean, just look at me. I probably watched the most.
James, I
And
want my
go on.
crown at the end of this year. Okay, I want my crown. So we're gonna have to go for it.
So, yeah, score out of 10. Jaxie?
Yeah, I'm giving it like a 9. I'm gonna give it like a 9.25. Out of 10, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 9.5. For me, it's the best Wrestle Kingdom I've watched live, so to speak. But again, I don't know if it's because I've got more emotionally vested. There wasn't one match on this card that I went, what? Well, apart from the Rambo at the start, but I think everybody did. That was the point, wasn't it? You know. So I think, yeah, really, really good stuff. And like I said, the backstage comments were great. So you go and check that out. The aftermath, well, just 24 hours later, they held New Year Dash. We saw Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Rizuki Taguchi for World Television Championship, and we saw Tanahashi's bum. As the president was making his way backstage, a video of a long-haired man kickboxing played on a Titantron. The man emerged from the car in a suit and flip-flops, revealing themselves to be Matt Riddle, and he challenged Tanahashi to a future World Television title match. And Tanahashi accepted and said he didn't know who Riddle was, so he plans to carry out some research. Either that or just smoke a blunt. Jaxie, what do you think about Matt Riddle versus Tanahashi? It's definitely a match I didn't think we were going to see in 2024.
It's definitely not a match that I wasn't planning to see. I mean, I'll be watching a match like that for sure, but I mean, it's not that I'm not a Matt Riddle fan, but I'm just like, I don't really care to see him face Tanahashi. So, I don't see someone like Matt Riddle winning against a veteran like Tanahashi, who's been in this business for so long. And if Riddle's just coming in for a one-off, I don't really see him making an impact. Now, if you're telling me that he's going to go ahead and sign with New Japan and then maybe build himself up, maybe eventually, yes. But at this level right now, nah, bruv, you're not beating Tanahashi. So,
Bro.
exactly.
Come on, bro.
So I mean, I'll watch this match for sure, but am I excited by it? No, I think Tanahashi could face many other people, and I would be more excited by that. So
Well, we saw also El Fantasmo and Hikuleo defeating Oscar Lube and Yotu Nakashima. Afterwards, Chase Owens laid out ELP, so it looks like we'll get ELP and Hikuleo versus Chase Owens and his partner, who Chase decided will be Kenta for the IWGP Tag Team title soon. This was also the Young Lions send-off match. Shota Umino, Master Wato, El Desperado, Tamatonga, Honma, and McCabe defeated House of Torture. Evil, Renderita Show, Yushino Kamura, Takahashi, and Dick Togu. And it looks like we're going to get El Desperado versus Kanemaru for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title after Kanemaru hit his former tag partner with a title belt. Could be worse. Evil cut out a chunk of Tama's hair. My God, then got him deleted on the New Japan website. Can you think of anything worse? United Empire, Will Ospreay, Francis Akara, TJP, Jeff Cobb, and RA versus Bullet Club War Dogs ended in a no contest. We found out Will Ospreay will have his final match for New Japan at New Beginning on February 11th, and it will be United Empire versus Bullet Club War Dogs in a 10-man steel cage match. It's been a long time steel cage match. Go on.
Yeah, it was just chaos, that match. There was no way the rest was ever going to get control of that match. They all just wanted to bleed. Like, what was that at the end? Did they have like a fork that they were stabbing into Francesco Akira's head? It was insane.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, he's bleeding everywhere as well. It's quite shocking, actually, when you think about it. Yeah, and then all the security fences and everything get thrown around. That'd be interesting to see what happens there. But a cage match as well. We don't usually get them. We see just 5 guys. Sanada, Taichi, Yamura, Doki, and Taka defeated Los Ingobernables. Taka hit the Michinoku driver. Fucking that takes me back.
Yay!
I mean, when's the last time he done that, Monty? 97?
He won a random match like a couple months ago with it, but yeah, Yeah, it's always nice when he finally hits the Michinoku driver because he's been losing for as long as I watched him in New Japan. But yeah, man, Taka's great. I love anyone who don't know anything about Japanese pro wrestling, or if you just remember the old WWE days, Taka Michinoku is awesome.
Yeah, he is shit up. Taiji Ishimori became the KOPW 2024 champion. We should say the KOPW changes champion every turn of
every
the
year.
So it doesn't matter who the champion at the end of the year. It's going to be a new champion in 2024. And Ishimori beat Greater Khan, Toriyano, and Yo in a 10-minute scramble match. Ishimori scored his decisive pin over Greater Khan with 90 seconds to go, and then just ran around.
And ran.
Yeah, that's the best. What's wrong with that? That's what I'd do. And the main event saw a shocking result as a dream team of Kazuchika Okada, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, and Tomohiro Ishii proved to be a nightmare as TMDK scored the win with Shane Hayes small package on Ishii. My God, who would have thought? I mean, talk about star power low in that matchup. I know I heard Jackson shouting about it.
Yeah, you know for a fact that I was like, oh my gosh, this is a sexy lineup. Look at all these four. Would you have ever imagined that? Like all four of those men?
Especially Ishii.
Yeah, exactly. When Ishii's music dropped, I legit, like, my head just turned like, what? What? This is so random, but I'm loving it. It was great.
Well, also we saw Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. interacting throughout the match, and Zack Sabre Jr. challenged the American Dragon to a rematch from Wrestle Dream, and also Koji Fujita, Michael Nicholas, and Shane Haste, because I mean, you probably tell the story better because he's no longer a young boy. You can explain it better. Go on.
He's graduated.
You know.
Yeah, he's graduated, man. He spent time in Australia. He's been everywhere, and he's been basically learning straight from TMDK, Zack Sabre Jr. and the rest of the crew. He's been in America a couple times. So Fujita is ready, and he called out basically Okada. Okada told him, "Don't get ahead of yourself, you punk." I love the way Okada talks to the youth. Such a great role model, Okada.
Yep, 100%. I mean, I just saw this more as like, daddy's talking. You need to listen.
And like I said, it was really fun, but the schedule for New Japan as well is already full up. You already mentioned Evil versus Tamatonga tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You've got El Desperado Kanemaru on the 23rd of January. Shooter versus Ren Narita on the 24th, 1-on-1.
Yeah.
February 11th, you've got Will Ospreay's last match. You've also got, and this is what Taiji Ishimori said. I didn't. He said it was going to be Shorty versus Fatso for the KOPW title. I didn't say that. Monty, you can back me up.
Yeah, he said it. Shorty versus Fatso.
Not only
you can
that,
guess which one is fat, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, this is it for now. It's been long enough, but I think we should catch up maybe in 3 months' time. Like I said, we've got all this stuff, plus Okada's last match, plus Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. On the same day as the cage match on the 11th of February. And then you've got Nick Nemeth versus David Finlay and Tanahashi versus Matt Riddle on the 23rd of Feb as well. So, like I said, there's so much going on with these matches.
Moxley just fought Shingo at the Battle in the Valley.
I forgot to mention that. You've got Battle in the Valley. You've got
Okada and Ospreay
coming up.
Fought for the last time.
Tanahashi versus Master Valley, is it? Coming up? Or is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hiromu versus Ali. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's coming up too.
So remember, you got
Chicago.
Chicago. Moxley and Naito there as well. It's just bananas. It's just...
Yeah, they're going really, really hard. And yeah, man, it's a lot. It's a lot going on in New Japan. A lot of shuffling too. So it's gonna be exciting.
It's gonna be exciting. It really is. But before we go, finally, I mean, like I said, we're gonna try and wrap up. But I did want to speak about Kota Ibushi, you know, because it's unfortunate, but I have to save that to the next show. But yes, Monty, there was breaking news as everybody kind of woke up as it was. And what was the breaking news coming out of New Japan?
Kazuchika Okada has announced that he will not be renewing his contract on January 31st. That ends on January 31st. So he will be leaving New Japan, which is something that the top guys in Japanese professional wrestling companies they don't do this. But he announced it, gave them a notice on Thursday. Obviously, because the way they switched around some dates, New Japan was not expecting it, because instead of defending the 6-man titles at New Beginning, they're going to do it sooner than that. I think on the 24th, 23rd. And then Okada in New Beginning will have his final match, his final one-on-one match against Hiroshi Tanahashi. He has 2 more dates, I think on February 22nd and 23rd, that I'm hoping he choose to fight like a Shota or one of the young guys, because that's, like, you can tell by the way they booked his last 6 months. There's no way they knew he was leaving, because you don't have a guy like Okada in a 6-man tag team when you could be putting over the next generation.
I'm about to say, they didn't even interact in the G1, did they? Like,
no, not really. Yeah. He didn't even really. Yeah, he barely dealt with the kids, because if I remember right, I think Sonata was in the block with the kids. So yeah, man, he hasn't. Other than like that tag match, I think Ren and Shota, when they tried to take when they tried to fight Tanahashi and Okada, he hasn't really had much to do with them, and even that match, they weren't anywhere near his level. So it's unfortunate, man. It really is for New Japan fans, for people who really just like New Japan. It's unfortunate. I'm pretty sure, and you can tell by social media, it's some of the most exciting stuff to happen to the wrestling world. You know, AEW fans, WWE fans, all types of people are all of a sudden the biggest fan of Kazuchika Okada, which I'm not saying they weren't before. I get it. He's awesome. It's really easy to see why he's been the man for so long. But, you know, we talked about it earlier, James. There's going to be a lot of changes, and New Japan is going to be completely different, man, going forward. I can't imagine New Japan without Okada. I've never watched New Japan without. He mentioned it. He hasn't taken any time off from injury, so we haven't really had like a few months of a reprieve from Okada ever. So
but I'm trying to work out. Man. So like, if for people listening, from like Undertaker losing his streak, do you know what I mean? Like, how shocked were you by this? Was it that bad, or did you have like kind of any inkling, or was it just like, because obviously like Tanahashi took over as president because Okada didn't like the former guy, you know. I can't think of the name right on top of my head, and I thought, oh, that's a bit of backstage.
Retrospectively, again, now that I have a lot of time to think about it, I think signs were there that he wasn't necessarily content with just New Japan, but at the same time, he talks a certain type of way naturally. He's always been confident. He always puts over New Japan, but he would say stuff recently like, New Japan is one of the best wrestling in the world is. But he would say, it's because I'm there, though. You know what I mean? So, like, he always had that type of, you don't know if that's just him being Okada, or is that really him saying that this place is nothing without me type of deal. And I don't know how bad the relationship was with the last president, but it must have been something. And this is something that even Tanahashi had no control over, because he just mentioned, and he just did a press conference talking about it himself, and just how, you know, he was hoping that Okada could do more with the young, with the people of the future, with the kids of the future, and how he just wasn't really expecting it. And he said he had an awesome quote, like, when the rain stops, there'll be a rainbow. So yeah, man, they're moving forward. It's literally a new beginning. That's the next series of shows. But I even Tanahashi sounded like he wasn't sure about this, didn't know this was gonna happen. So this is insane. I think New Japan just assumed, just like always, Okada would come back, resign, do his deal, and, you know, help them prepare for the future. But, you know, Okada's had different thoughts. It could be a plethora of things. It could be he want to go to the AEW and try fighting a new batch of talent. It could be he wants to join up with Shinsuke, a great friend of his, and wrestle a more relaxed style in WWE. It could be, I doubt this because I don't think Impact has the money, but at the end of the day, I don't know if Okada needs money. He could have just really fell in love with what he's been doing with the little stuff he's been doing on the side with TNA. I don't know. It's completely shocking. It's right up there with Undertaker losing. I would never say anything is over that because I never thought he was gonna lose the streak. But this is right next to it, man, because I never thought Okada would be anywhere other than New Japan. So, yeah, this is a big deal.
It's just crazy, isn't it? You know, like you said, and again, is he looking over and thinking all these great talents, and maybe he can wrestle once a year, and then he's like, oh, you got to wrestle these younger guys in New Japan. He's thinking, well, I can wrestle better, not better talent, but you know what I mean, like
right.
He's you know, schedule wise as well, and you know, people knowing him, and it would be.
He's a father now. Like it's a lot of factors that can go into that. Yeah.
I mean, I know Jaxie, you must be devastated, but again, at least he'll be closer to home
in America,
so
I guess.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be devastated. I'm very happy for him and his family, but in my head, he's still with me. You know, like in my imagination. So I can be in denial about that as much as I want. Am I going to ever complain at getting him potentially on sort of, you know, more given more TV time within a Western sort of audience? I'm not going to complain at all. This is absolute music to my ears, you know, so I can only just wait and see where he signs. But either way, if he's on Impact, Ring of Honor, whatever, I'm following him to wherever he goes. So I look forward to seeing what potential matches and dream matches are going to come out of him being open to sort of like a wider range of audience, a wider range of wrestlers. So I'm excited to see what his year is going to bring. I really can't. I can't really like tell you where I can imagine where he'll be 6 months time from now right now. But that's exciting. You know, I can't wait to see where he just pops up. Wherever he pops up, I really hope that he is able to bring his entrance music with him, just because the moment you hear that coin drop, honestly, just know that my neighbors are all going to be woken up regardless as to what time it is when I'm watching it. I'll be screaming, please.
Right, and I think, well, I mean, Gina, what are your thoughts on this? Because obviously we're not sure where he's going to go. We're not sure why he's going to do it. But again, it's another interesting thing, isn't it? You know, and is Tony Khan just going to take him and just make him another wrestler like Will Ospreay and Jay White?
I mean, the thing is like I don't necessarily want Tony to nab him, and I also do. I don't want him to nab him because I don't want him to ruin Okada. But I also would like to see him get him because I would love to see him on AEW TV more. So I feel really torn behind this, but I'm also excited just for Okada to embark on this next journey. You know, he obviously wants to change things up and do something different, and I'm here to support that. I'm all willing to see what he's got in store for us next. So, and I also know that like his wife is probably doing loads more work as well, which I just found out, by the way. His wife is more famous than him, and I'm actually shocked by that. But either way, if he's following his wife and that's why he's deciding to do this, then fair play to him. If he's just doing it for a new adventure, bring it on, because I'm excited for it.
Just wait till you find out Shooter's dad's red shoes, eh? So, but like you said, it's going to be interesting.
No, really?
I know. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I only found that out.
Last thing I want to say about last thing too, for all my worldwide fans who really love Japanese professional wrestling, as bummed out as we all are, by the way, because this is just, at the end of the day, it's not even just the fact that Okada's gone. It's the fact that they've lost Jay White, they lost Ospreay now, and Okada in the same year. They lost AJ and Shinsuke at the same time also, and they recovered, but it took time. And I think that's the thing is you just it's going to take time. And I think that I have the mindset that I kind of take pride in this. The rest of the world, whenever you become a big deal in New Japan, that the rest of the world is watching. And WWE, AEW, whatever promotion, they are looking to sign the best talent in the world. So as bummed out as I am, I don't necessarily think we need all the biggest stars only on this side of the earth. I love when wrestling had them spread out everywhere. You just kind of had to seek it out. But at the same time, I would never tell anyone not to seek a bigger platform for them personally. So all my Japanese fans out there, all the fans who love Japanese professional wrestling, we can be bummed out for now. We can be happy for Okada, but let's just try to keep our heads held high and try to keep supporting Puroso as we continue on, because Stardom is losing a lot of talent to different people. Like we talk about Julia contract up. Mariah May let hers. We see what she's doing at AEW. They let her contract go. A lot of other talent just around different Japanese promotions is going and spreading their wings. So we wish them all the best, but let's try to work on pushing more better talent towards the future for all my Japanese professional wrestling fans.
And also, I'll just say, sometimes, being forced to make a change or, when something sudden happens, does work out for the better. Like the Attitude Era would never happen if it hadn't been forced to kind of change and look for new stars. The same with the kind of John Cena,
right,
Randy Orton, and that time, even with the Shield, and stuff like this. Sometimes when certain wrestlers aren't there anymore, people are there to fill the gaps. And one thing for sure is that in a year's time, New Japan will probably be completely different to what we've just seen right now.
Definitely.
So I think that's it. I don't think we can do any more. Anybody want to review Battle on the Rally? No, we'll leave it. Don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast, I'm at the WNR JR. You can find the Ty at WNR Team on the Twitter banner. Monty, where can people find to listen to you?
At My Monty Pod, or you can go wherever you get podcasts, type in Mind of Monty. We just released our first podcast of season 3, basically talking about life as parents, getting into some of the many little wrestling topics like body shaming in wrestling and just people's opinions in general and more. So yeah, and the future of the podcast. I always seem like I have to discuss that every season, but check us out at My Monty Pod. We finally put out a new one. It just came out, I think, earlier today. So please click the link in my bio on Twitter, or you can type in Mind of Monty where you listen to your podcast.
Yeah, and I've just retweeted it as well. Jaxie, where can people find and follow you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, X at Jaxie Scarlett.
And Gina?
You can find me on X at Purple Pain.
WNR also on Facebook and Instagram across all Google platforms. Send us an WNR. Send us an email at WNRpodcast@gmail.com. Come on, James, you got this. And YouTube is a podcast with all the latest clips and podcasts got at the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode is next week. Jackson and Gina, I don't know if I've told you this, but we're going to do a classic Raw Rumble. So you're going to have to watch a Raw Rumble by next weekend. Monty, it's your pick. What are you forcing us to watch?
I'm forcing everyone to watch one of the best Royal Rumbles I've ever seen. The 2007 Royal Rumble. I believe it's 2007. Yeah, the one with, I don't want to spoil the ending, but it was one of the greatest, especially great Royal Rumble matches I vividly remember. We're going to look at that entire show. So, yeah, that should be fun.
Isn't that got John Cena and Umaga as well? Am I getting confused?
Yes, I think that's Cena versus Umaga. Yeah.
Ooh, so that's a good one. So that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to review that and do the Royal Rumble 2024 predictions. It's that time of year again, eh? It's crazy. But until then, I've been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Jaxie, well done winning the very first show of 2024. No one can take that away from you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm already setting a standard, so I've already got now high expectations from myself to continue this streak. So let's see how we go. Everyone put your, cross your fingers and just pray for me. Let's see how I get on. Hopefully I'll just continue to go further up. But it's been fun.
Well, I doubt the mind of Monty. Monty, thank you very much for filling us in on the details that we needed to.
No problem. We if we keep up with it a little bit better, hopefully we will not have to do this for 5 hours.
I will promise you, there's no going to happen again, all right? I have got like 3 years of strong in my pocket somewhere. I'm gonna do one day.
A year and a half of Impact too, huh?
A year and Impact, you do know that. Yes, mate. Yeah, we got that there. But that's New Japan all sorted out. See, Gina, we did it, and it wasn't that bad. 3.5 hours of our lives.
No, of course not. Definitely not that bad. But it was still an enjoyable one, and it was one that was needed, especially because we don't do New Japan so often.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And, of course, next week should be fun. A retro review, Rumble 07. And, of course, like we said, the predictions. But until then, thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.